56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie. Sports 56 Middays is presented by FedEx. FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
We, the North, are now we, the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
3-2. Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Let the good times roll. LSU sits on the throne of college football.
And this one is over. Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
Now, here are your hosts for Sports 56 Middays, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Out in the countryside, lay back and smell the sun, warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends.
Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome into Sports 56 Middays on... It's a beautiful day. I think we qualify today as beautiful, right? Our thoughts to the folks in Arkansas. Man, they got hammered again in parts of Arkansas with tornadoes last night. Severe weather. We kind of missed it for the most part. I mean, at my house, we got some hard rain, really hard rain at about 10:30, but it lasted about 10 minutes, I think, 15 minutes, and that was it. Like, we kind of dodged it around here, but man, Arkansas, again, tornadoes and bad weather and things like that. So certainly our thoughts with those folks up there in those various parts of Arkansas who were hit last night, and other areas, other parts of the area that were hit hard by the weather last night. I am Eli Savoie. This is Sports 56 Middays, which is delivered each and every day by the great folks over at FedEx. Certainly appreciate their support of us, and again, their continued work within helping out folks and doing things, whether it be for the government or anything else, and distributing supplies and things during this COVID-19 pandemic. No Greg Gaston in studio, although we will check in with Greg at 11 o'clock. Hopefully he's got his homework done and he has the correct assignment done today. We'll see. We shall see if he has gotten the correct assignment done for today's show. Gabe Kuhn is here producing the program, and of course he's in a separate room. So we are doing our social distancing, keeping everybody, trying to keep everybody healthy around here. So far, that has been going well, and we will continue to do that for at least a little while longer as we do our social distancing. But Gabe Kuhn here producing the program. Coming up on the program today, we will talk coming up at 10:25 with Ole Miss baseball coach Mike Bianco. Talk a little bit about him. First of all, this has got to be a bit surreal. I mean, Mike Bianco has literally spent his entire adult life either playing or coaching baseball this time of year. So he has never been doing anything but playing or coaching baseball at this time of year. He also has two sons who play college baseball, or would be playing college baseball, one at Louisville, one at LSU, and another one who plays high school baseball. So like the whole Bianco family this is like the time of year for them. And right now they're at home doing nothing. We'll also get his thoughts on the fact with the extra year of eligibility for the spring sport athletes, obviously including baseball players, if he's even been able to figure it all out, like how this is going to work and putting together a baseball roster. And of course, the draft has been or is going to be shortened. We still don't know exactly how many rounds, but instead of the normal 40, they're going to be doing somewhere between 5 and 10 rounds, and how that could affect things. So these college baseball coaches have a lot to try and figure out and digest with all of this that is going on, and we'll get his thoughts on that, how that might work out. That's at 10:25. We'll check in with Greg at 11. At 11:25, Brandon Lang, our buddy, BrandonLang.com and the Sharp Edge podcast, we'll see what Brandon's up to because obviously his business, not much to do. Can't put any picks out if there's no games being played. There are things you can bet on. I'm not sure Brandon's out there handicapping Ozark season 3 bets though. I'm not sure that's a thing. I'm not sure he's handicapping all of the bets you can make on the NFL draft, but maybe he is. I don't know. We'll see what Brandon's up to.
I think Australian rules football is still going on.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe he's resorted to that. Maybe.
Who knows? I mean, we shall see what Brandon is up to. And talk to him at 11:25. Trying to kind of get his thoughts too of what kind of effects this could end up having on his business and just the gambling and sports betting business, if there's any, as a whole. And then at 12:30 today, we'll talk some NFL draft with Jordan Reed, not the tight end from the Redskins with all the concussions, different Jordan Reed from the draftnetwork.com. He will join us at 12:30. We'll talk some draft with him. So that is today's program. Of course, you could always join the program yourself. We welcome you to call. We welcome you to text. We welcome you to tweet. If you got something you want to talk about, you want something you want us to talk about, please let us know. The First Bank text line is 67129, 67129. The First Bank phone line, 360-8255. 360-8255. And you can hit us up on Twitter. I am at Eli560. Gabe is at G_Kuhn71, and that's Kuhn, the Kuhn. So that's, there you go. That is what we've got going on today. And again, if you want to join the program, we certainly welcome you to do so. Not only all those ways can you hit us up, you can also watch us. You can see us. You can see me live. Look at I'm waving at you right now. Gabe, wave at the people. You're waving at that camera. There you go. Gabe's waving at you now. You can watch us. You can message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, all kinds of ways. Just say, "Hey Alexa, turn on Sports 56." There's so many ways to listen to us, watch us, message us, when we welcome all of those. So this morning we've gotten the official announcement. Yesterday, Woj. Now, there had been rumors and talk that the NBA was trying to put together some sort of game of horse, which I think probably most people, at least, if not all, at some point in your childhood, if you've played any basketball, you played horse or pig or any word, depending on how many letters you wanted to have. But horse is the most common. And there had been talk that they were putting together a game of horse with some high-profile players in the NBA. Basically, they'll be doing it at their own house. Like you have to have a basket, a court at your own home, because you're obviously not going to a gym and you're not getting together to do this.
The requirement is to have a basketball court in your own home. You better have some money then. Okay.
Yeah. That's why it was funny because I was actually talking to some Grizzlies folks and the Grizzlies don't, most of their players do not have a basket, a court at home. Because it's young players. As you get older and you sign the big contract, that's when you can kind of upgrade your pad. A lot of the Grizzlies guys are living in apartments or condos or things like that or whatever. So they don't have this. But so then Woj yesterday broke the news that Chris Paul, Trae Young, and Zach LaVine were three of the players involved. And he said there were going to be some other WNBA people involved possibly and some NBA alumni. Well, this morning, it is official. The NBA has announced the 8 NBA, WNBA, and Legends players participating in the single elimination shooting competition. It is the ESPN Horse Challenge presented by State Farm, which that's a big reason I think probably why Chris Paul is involved. Not that Chris Paul would be great anyway, but with State Farm, Chris Paul is going to be involved. We find out that the other current player, in addition to Paul, LaVine, and Trae Young, involved in this horse competition is former Grizzly Mike Conley Jr. You also have WNBA player Allie Quigley from the Chicago Sky. I don't know a damn thing about Allie Quigley.
Does she have a gym in her house?
She has to.
Good Lord.
If you're in
Like
this-
Trae Young already has one? That surprises me.
Yeah, some people. I guess it's your priorities.
I guess so.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know how. I don't know what kind of. I could be an outdoor area too. Like I guess whatever. I don't know what the requirement is. The other WNBA legend is Tamika Catchings, who was just announced this past weekend going into the Hall of Fame, the Basketball Hall of Fame. NBA legends are Paul Pierce and Chauncey Billups. So the way this is going to work, this Sunday, Easter Sunday night, will be the quarterfinal matchups. It will be Trae Young against Chauncey Billups and Mike Conley against Tamika Catchings. That's the first round matchups for Group 1. In Group 2, first round matchups, Zach LaVine against Paul Pierce and Chris Paul against Allie Quigley. And they're all playing a game of horse. They will flip a coin to see who shoots first and then go from there.
I feel like I have a lot of questions still. Because can you dunk?
Well,
is that okay?
That's Trae Young yesterday when it was first announced that Zach LaVine and Young and Paul were in it. Trae Young tweeted at Zach LaVine and said, "No dunking allowed." So, yeah, I'm going to guess that you can't dunk, like do something like a dunk that obviously another guy can't. Like if you're in this one, Zach LaVine's going against Paul Pierce, but Mike Conley against Tamika Catchings. Conley doesn't get to go in there and dunk and say, "Hey, Tamika, you got to dunk it." Like I would think the other person could
use
just do
your
a layup.
advantages.
You could just do a layup.
I guess so, but we'll see what happens.
So, and then the winners of the quarterfinal matchups will match up in the semifinals. That's going to be next Thursday, a week from today. They'll have the two semifinals starting at 9 o'clock, and then they'll have the championship game immediately after that. So it's this Sunday and then next Thursday. That's the two nights, and it's going to be televised on ESPN. So it's just a 2-night deal. The 4 quarterfinal matchups this Sunday, and then the 2 semifinals and the championship coming up Thursday night. Again, this Sunday it starts. That's Eastern time. I think I said those times in Eastern time. It starts at 6 on Sunday. The quarterfinals 6 Central, and then the semifinals and championship will start at 8 o'clock Central time on Thursday. Will you watch?
I will watch this. I mean, I'm way more likely to watch this than that 2K crap they put on.
Which is tonight, unless they reschedule again.
I'm not. Yeah, they don't even have it together, really.
No, it clearly doesn't matter when on the day of the games you're like, no, we're rescheduling. Like some dude's internet's out, can't play, so we're gonna have to play the Thursday night instead.
Their internet went down. They weren't ready for it, and they're gonna start playing replays of it, and I'm be like, you guys just need to give it up.
I mean, I'll tell you, I'm like, certainly because of the situation we're in, like, I will absolutely watch this because I need something. I need something to watch that's different than Netflix shows or First 48. I used to love First 48, watched it all the time. When I first moved to Memphis, because Memphis was on there, and it was always cool. So I don't know. But I've always been a big fan of detective work and all of that stuff anyway, so it's always intrigued me. I used to watch it. Then I kind of quit watching it for a long time. But man, oh man, have I gotten back into First 48. And they show it constantly. Like there is, A&E just will put like 10 episodes in a row on, and I'll just sit down and start watching. But then that's a little depressing. Like in this time we're living in right now where like you kind of get depressed anyway because you're just sitting at home doing it. I realized after about 4 episodes of watching people get murdered and the investigation over, I'm like, this isn't the most uplifting thing for me to be watching. I probably should find something a little happier, a little happier vibe than watching First 48 constantly.
I ran out of Ozark, ran out of Tiger King. I've been like jumping from documentary to documentary, watched the Dennis Rodman documentary. And then yesterday, of all things, got through a whole Unabomber documentary. It's just, you got to find something semi-interesting, try to learn a little bit. and that's apparently what I decided to come across.
Well, again, I'm sure that was very uplifting. Very.
That
improves
we'll call
your
it
mood
that.
right there. That improves your mood. But so like a horse game, like it's something I'm all for. Like I'm all for this. It'll be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see the courts like that these people have, like that they're doing this on. I mean, I guess theoretically, I mean, I assume it's all on home courts, but I guess theoretically, if you had a high school gym, I mean, maybe somebody could let you in there to use that by yourself. I don't know.
If somebody has an outdoor court, you're already at a disadvantage because then you have to deal with the wind.
Yeah, hopefully, if it's a windy day, you're screwed.
Exactly. So they better all have indoor situations.
So we'll see that. But again, that's on Sunday night, which is Easter Sunday, which I didn't even know because there is no function of days and time right now or dates. Like I don't comprehend anything. Every day is the same. There's no differing of anything. So like I really didn't even realize this was Easter week until like my wife said something last night. I'm like, oh, this is Easter week. Okay, well, that's interesting. But so yeah, Easter night, little horse to get you through your Easter evening. Yesterday, I don't know what I guess it was yesterday afternoon, I believe. The Memphis Tigers found out that they did not get one of their targets in the transfer portal. Alex O'Connell, the Duke transfer, made the announcement that he is going to Creighton. So he is a guy that the Tigers had reportedly offered after he had made the announcement that he was transferring from Duke. Did not play much at Duke, but was a highly thought of recruit. Obviously, he went to Duke. They usually get highly thought of recruits. And he'll be heading to Creighton. There is a chance that he could graduate and be eligible next year, but according to the reports, he doesn't really want to be eligible. He would rather sit out next year and then have 2 years of eligibility remaining. And that might be because Creighton is loaded for next year. Creighton is Doug McDermott is like doing an unbelievable job there. I don't think people realize like when you had Seton Hall and Villanova and everybody else, Creighton was the number 1 seed for the Big East tournament this year. They were the number 1 seed, and they have all 5 starters expected to return next year. Like Creighton could be next year's Dayton of this year. I mean, they don't have the Obi Toppin like high-end player like that, I don't think, but they could be like that team that is a top 5 team in now the Big East is a power conference in basketball, so it's not quite the same thing. But people don't think of Creighton as a national championship contender, but they could legit be a national championship contender, and so they pick up Alex O'Connell out of the transfer portal. So the Tigers do not get O'Connell. There are some other transfers they're involved with. Of course, next week it's going to be next Wednesday is when Jalen Green is expected to announce his decision. He had said it will be on the 15th or at least somewhere around there. Obviously, a very big target for the Tigers. Does he even play college basketball? Does he go pro? And then the following, 9 days later, Greg Brown is expected to make his announcement on the 24th. So this is a very big month for the Tiger basketball program. And whether they can get both of those guys, we shall see. Alex O'Connell, again, is not going to be coming to Memphis, so they lose out on that one. But if they were to miss on both Green and Brown,
it'd be rough. But sort of back to your Creighton thing, they have put together the equation of what a good long run in the tournament, what that team would look like. Right? You have guys that are there for multiple years. You have guys that have some NBA talent. You look at Tyshawn Alexander, good guard, can fill it up. And then you get grad transfers. So they have loads of experience where a lot of these top teams in the country are going to bring in freshmen yet again and have to deal with all of their guys leaving this year for the draft.
I feel like Creighton has taken the Gonzaga blueprint and that's what you'll see a lot of international guys there, And they do get a lot of transfers. Like they'll pick up transfers to fill needs. But again, but it is also veteran guys. You're not getting one and done guys at Creighton. Like, it's just not it. So I feel like that they don't get as Gonzaga probably gets a little more high end talent than Creighton gets. But I feel like it's that similar thing. Like, go to the international market, pick up some guys there, get some guys who are NBA caliber players, then pick up some transfers and put together the roster that way. But that is Doug McDermott is doing an outstanding job there. I mean,
them and Villanova, they're very similar to me. Like how they're putting together their rosters. Jay Wright has sort of, and I think Jay Wright got it before a lot of people. Like, he doesn't care for one and done guys. He doesn't. He does not like.
He had a couple. The one, what's his name, that was on the championship team. But but he wasn't even considered a one and done guy until they won the championship. Like that, if they don't win the championship that year, he's not going pro. Like, he didn't come in as like, oh my God, like they went and got this one and done guy. That was one of those cases where, because they were so good, they made the run. He was good in the tournament. Okay, I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. I'm going pro, even though I'm just a freshman. So generally they do not get one and done guys at all there. I mean, it's pretty much, it's mainly Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, Michigan State. I mean, Michigan State doesn't get many of them. That's very few for them. But I mean, it's the blue bloods that are going for the one and dones, and a lot of these others are, still sticking to kind of trying to get a guy that'll be there 2-3 years at least and see what you can do. When we come back, we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk a little college baseball and the new changes, and with all of the things happening with the spring sport athletes getting an extra year of eligibility. What does that mean? And what the heck is Mike Bianco do to waste time right now when, like, this is the busiest time of your year, every single year for the past, 30 years. Mike Bianco's been either playing or coaching baseball this time of year, and his whole family's normally playing baseball this time of year. Now they're playing pickup games of basketball in the driveway, according to their Twitter. And according to his son, Mike had a Kobe Bryant moment. I got to ask him about that when we come back, as this is Sports 56 Middays, just getting rolling here on a Thursday, delivered by FedEx on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Hilo Commercial Services can help protect your workplace and employees. Call Hilo Commercial Services today to help mitigate the dangerous effects of the coronavirus and the flu virus. Hilo offers complete deep cleaning and sanitizing services for schools, churches, medical facilities, office buildings, residential, warehouses, and more, all customized to your needs. Put safety first with Hilo Commercial Services. Call Philip right now at 901-277-6733. 901-277-6733. It's time for Hilo Commercial Services.
Hi, this is Greg Gaston from Sports 56 Middays. During this coronavirus pandemic, many of you are spending all day at home, and we remind you that you can stay in touch and connected through Sports 56. Turn us on your radio, computer, phone, or smart speaker, and stay up to date and connected with the community. Keep practicing social distancing and remember to wash your hands often. And hopefully, before too long, we can get back to some sort of normalcy. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected with Sports 56 and Sports56WHBQ.com.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Let's do it.
Welcome back. Sports 56 Middays here on this Thursday. Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn with you. Again, we'll check in with Greg coming up at 11 o'clock. But right now, going to talk a little college baseball. And it was 4 weeks ago yesterday, although it seems like it was 4 years ago yesterday, that I and Mike Bianco were having a conversation in the dugout at the University of Louisiana Monroe. The Ivy League had just canceled spring sports, and we were discussing a little about what might happen. I don't think either one of us possibly thought that day was going to be the final game of the season for the Ole Miss Rebels. And boy, how things have changed since then. Now joining me is the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels baseball team, Mike Bianco. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach Mike Bianco. Coach, first of all, how are you doing? I hope the whole family's healthy. Everything is good.
Oh, thanks, Eli. Yeah, we're all good. We're all safe, like everybody. Yeah, and you're right. Just listening to your prelude to this interview. It seems like a long time ago that two games in Monroe and how far we've come since then. But thanks for asking. Everybody in the Bianco household's healthy and safe and thankful.
So how surreal maybe is it for you? Because I was mentioning earlier, like you, I guess probably every year of your adult life have either been playing or coaching baseball this time of year. So how, and then you've got all your family who plays baseball as well, and they should all be playing right now. So how weird is this?
It is. It's about as weird, for our family as you can imagine. Just, for, being, I think I've coached now for 30 years, started at 22. So you're right, basically since I've been out of college, so I've never had a spring break. I've never, many Sundays, Easter Sundays we're playing. So, it's much different. You never have a weekend, let alone, 4 weeks where you're at the house and, so it's different for us. But, to be honest with you, and then obviously there's been so much devastation, with this virus, throughout our country, as far as health's concerned, with death and sickness. And then, of course, the other devastation of the economy and, businesses and people personally have lost their jobs. But, for us, one of the positives is, there haven't been many times, not just in a couple of years, but in a long time where you got 7, 8 Biancos sitting down at a dinner table. We've done that basically every night for 4 weeks. And so that part of it we've tried to embrace and, make it a positive to where we're all together. We have a lot more conversations now. My wife makes sure that we all have a duty and a job every day, a honey-do list, whatever that is, to clean the pool or, reorganize the garage, or just like a lot of families. But we try to, embrace the positive of just spending time together.
I also see from Drew's Twitter account that there is some 2-on-2 family basketball going on, and he relates the story. He says it's a true Kobe moment from you when you dislocated your finger. Tell me this story.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, and it was probably the first week or so of the shelter in place here in Oxford. And we're just playing 2-on-2 basketball. Usually it's 2-on-2, and we have 4 boys, so they just get after. But for some reason, one of them, I think Ben wasn't there that day or was doing something, and so I was the player to be named later. So it was me and Drew against Michael and Sam, and of course, as they're not, kids anymore. The youngest is 18 to 24, and they're all, 200 plus pounds. And of bodies banging up against each other, more than I can handle for sure. But it was a loose ball rebound, and I went out and Sam slapped down and hit my finger, and of course my finger looks like an L, and one, it didn't feel good, two, it didn't look good, so pulled it and tried to get it back into place, and basically once we pulled it, when it kind of like hyperextended and couldn't move it, and then my son Michael actually kept pulling it, got it back into place, and continued to play the game, and of course it's all about winning after that, right? So Drew and I end up winning the game, and of course, like every night, somebody wins, somebody loses, so somebody's happy and somebody's not so happy.
What now? That's impressive right there. See that just shows the dad. That you can't, especially as the dad, you can't bow out just because of a dislocated finger.
Oh no, because you're already on that line to where physically they're as bigger than me. Stronger than me, better shape than me, so as a parent, we all go through that time at some point, and they're so active now that, I'm just trying to keep up. And so, you don't want to be the old man dad that, got pushed, to the side, couldn't handle the basketball game.
So are they, like you mentioned, you guys have the honeydew chores that your wife gives everybody. Are those do you bet those in these games of 2-on-2 so somebody has to do double?
We've tried to stay out of betting, that, again, it's this culture that everything's a bet or gamble, or I bet you could do this. And so we've tried to stay out of the betting. No, Cammy's, has cracked the whip, and they all have, certain chores that they got to do. One of the neatest things that she's implemented here is every week before she goes grocery shopping, they have to pick a meal. So they all have to cook a meal. So last night was breakfast night. They'll cook hamburgers, or they'll cook tacos, and one of the boys is in charge of dinner that night. Now she'll go buy the food, but they cook it and prepare it, and which is kind of neat, and at first they kind of argued about it, but now I think they're kind of getting into it and getting, this is week 2 of that meal thing, and so it's been good. Tonight Catherine's cooking spaghetti and meat sauce, and tomorrow Drew's doing P5, a Mexican dish with chicken and cheese and rice, and I think Friday, Good Friday, Ben's doing crawfish pie. So it's been fun.
Interesting. Crawfish pie. I like the sound of that. They're talking with Mike Bianco, head baseball coach at Ole Miss. All right, speaking of meals, one of the things they're doing down at Ole Miss is the Fins Up Fund to help out the student athletes. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how folks can get involved with that?
Yeah, if you get on Twitter, go to our website. Obviously, you can click on that link, and there's a chance to obviously donate. And one of the things that's happened, and we realize that a lot of this pandemic has put a lot of families in uncharted waters and uncertainties, as far as finances, and we certainly we're thinking about them, praying for them. But there's other families, that haven't been as affected, obviously, because of their job, because of, where they are in their life, and that's great. But just like families, the Ole Miss athletic department has, been put under some tough, circumstances. And I think financially we're fine. It's not necessarily, but there's some more bills that we're not used to, and trying to take care of the student athletes, because along with that, we have so many student athletes that, are in different areas of the country, and trying to stay up with workouts and trying to get them workout equipment to, some of them that, used to eat in the cafeteria 3 days a week and aren't eating anymore, and trying to get them, different meals and send different things. And so obviously it's one of those bills that you, as an athletic department, weren't counting on, now, is there, and Keith's done a great job, keeping the athletic department up to date in what's going on, and obviously the foundation's done a great job, and we have so many loyal, supporters of the athletic department. But again, it's like everybody else, this is something out of the normal for us, uncharted waters, which you've heard the phrase so much, and so it's a chance for our fans to support the student athletes, directly.
So what is it like as a coach to have to inform your team or how did you kind of inform us? How did this all work when the word came down that obviously at first you're not playing that next series and then suddenly the entire rest of the season is off? How did that all kind of go down with you?
Well, I believe you were on the bus. Were you on the bus?
No, I was not. I didn't ride the bus back with you. I drove back separately.
All right. So I'll quickly try to go through the story. Immediately after that game on Wednesday in Monroe 4 weeks ago, I had received a text message from Lynette Johnson telling me that I'd have to get on a conference call at 8:45 that evening. So we load the bus. We're driving back to Oxford, which is about a 4.5-hour ride from Monroe. And on the conference call, Keith Carter, our athletic director, is in Nashville at the SEC basketball tournament, and they had just finished the first round. Ole Miss lost and got eliminated, but the ADs all day were meeting about this COVID-19 virus and what the future looked like. And so basically what they had decided that day was, our first SEC weekend against LSU, that we would play without fans. And so instead of having 12,000 fans at Swayze Field, we would only have the players, the umpires, and the required personnel, the media, and then the players' comp list. And so the players, family, and friends, 140 from each team. So basically, about probably 300 people total in the stadium. So what a difference it would look like. And so after that conference call, I addressed the team on the bus and explained to them that, hey, their parents are welcome. Tell them to keep coming, if they're on their way here or if they're leaving the next day to get to Oxford, they're going to be into the game, but it's going to look a little different. I explained it to them that way. And by the next morning, literally 12 hours later, the SEC made a decision to suspend the season, all spring sports, not just baseball, but all spring sports until March 30th. And we had practice scheduled that day, and so hold on through. And so we had practice that day on at noon, and so we when we addressed the team that day, we had let them know that, hey, we're not canceling the season. It's 3 weeks. We're going to continue to inter-squad, continue to be ready. And of course, it was disappointment, but I think they understood. And 3 weeks, anybody can live with that. And then, literally probably 3-4 hours later, it came out that they canceled the basketball tournament and all the the championships. And so basically, at that point, you knew there was no College World Series, and this, great start of a season, 16-1, top 5 ranking, 16-game winning streak would look like it was coming to an end. And so, literally, probably within 36 hours, I had 4 different meetings with 4 different messages to them, and so really emotional. And it's I think sometimes it's hard for any of us to kind of wrap our heads around it. But certainly for a young person that we're in our bubble like everybody else, and you're focused on one thing, and all of a sudden it just gets taken away from you. Nobody would have ever imagined that.
Talking with Mike Bianco, head baseball coach at Ole Miss. Have they, subsequent to that, they have made the announcement that the spring sport athletes will get the extra year of eligibility. All of the athletes basically this year doesn't count at all. Have you been able to kind of digest this? Because there's also the draft, of course, coming up, which is going to be a much shorter draft than normal. Have you been able to kind of wrap your head around this and how this might affect your roster and how things will look going forward because of all of these things happening? Obviously, you've got recruits coming in. Now guys that were going to leave aren't leaving necessarily. So have you figured this all out?
Well, I think we're all trying to figure it out. And you got to remember, I know a lot of fans, look at it as just a baseball issue, but it's not. When you talk about the athletic directors in the Southeastern Conference, they're trying to look at each sport individually, but of course the rule is all encompassing and talking about all the sports. And so basically what the NCAA said is, hey, last year we're just going to exempt that year. Not a redshirt year. You got to be careful of your terminology because redshirt year counts as a year. It's one of your 5 years. Because when you go to college, you have 5 years to play for, and so one of those years could be a redshirt year, but you can only have 4 years of eligibility. What the NCAA basically said is we're not going to count that year. So if you are already redshirt, you can come back another this year and have 5 years to play for. And so for the spring sports now, and so that was the first domino to fall. But, obviously what you're getting into and talking about the draft and seniors coming back, it's that is what we've been working, with ever since that, basically a week and a half ago. The rule came down Monday afternoon, a week and a half ago. And so, part of the misnomer is that, there'll be more relief on scholarship limitation, squad size limitation, and so on. They started with that, but there are some proposals by our conference and other conferences, for the specific sports, because our sports are different. You normally forecast to lose juniors because of the Major League Draft. You forecast to lose incoming recruits because certainly there's high school kids that sign, and those forecasts are always fluid in some regards because it's just a guess. But now, a lot of that guesswork is taken out of the equation because of a shorter draft, possibly 5 rounds, and you may not lose as many people, which means there's more people on campus. Not to mention that you have 5 classes on campus. So you got the seniors returning, but then you basically have 2 freshman classes. You have the freshman class of last year that we're playing right now, the Peyton Chatniers, the Derek Diamonds, those kids, and then you got the new freshmen coming in. And so, as you know, we had 16 freshmen, on last year's team, and they'll all be freshmen again, eligibility-wise. And so it's going to be a juggle for us. And again, so that's a long answer to your question, but I think it's all in a work in progress. And as we learn more about new proposals from the NCAA, as we learn more about how the Major League Draft's going to work, we'll again, continue to adjust.
Yeah, that's to me, that's the thing. It's like it's so many different working parts of it to try and figure that stuff out. Certainly because baseball's is different than other sports in the idea that guys can get drafted and then make that decision to come back, whereas other sports, a guy either declares to go to the draft or he doesn't. So you always have that unknown when the draft approaches.
You're exactly right, and that hurdle of the draft isn't just the juniors, but it's also the incoming kids. And depending on the year, depending on the classes, it will affect you in different ways. For example, if it happened to us last year, it would have affected us in a much different way. If you can look at all the kids that signed in our program as juniors after the 5th round, guys like Cooper Johnson, Zabowski, Caracci, Houston Roth, Zach Phillips, so many kids, those kids could actually return if that was this year. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing, but the problem is you start to have a lot more players on the roster, a lot more players on the field than you're used to, and not to mention the incoming guys. And so it's going to be, I don't want to say necessarily a struggle because we'll all struggle with it, but it's good. As we go forward, it's some things that we haven't had to deal with that certainly we're going to have to deal with this year.
The one thing I did, so you mentioned you guys had a 16-game winning streak going as this all happened. You're 16-1. Do all of the stats and stuff from this past year count? Like, are you guys going into next season with a 16-game winning streak?
Well, I haven't heard. It's a good question. I haven't really thought about it. I haven't heard if what they're going to do necessarily with the statistics. Is that, I'm not really sure. It's a great question. I think there's one side of it that you can say, how can you count the stats if you're not counting the year? But in regards, why hurt somebody like a Tyler Keenan that may end up signing this year? If he had 7 home runs, why can't those totals go on his career mark as at home runs? Who's that going to hurt? Necessarily. So again, something that I don't really know, and that's probably down the line for the NCAA to decide. They got a lot more scholarship and money issues to deal with than did somebody have 40 home runs or 47 home runs.
That is for sure. That is the least of their worries. But it's like one of those things I thought about. I'm like, I don't know how that all works when you like I said, you're not really counting the year eligibility wise. Does all the other stuff count? But certainly it's some weird times, Coach. Certainly appreciate your time. And I don't know if you got another basketball game on tap for today or if you got your honeydew list started started yet, but we certainly appreciate you taking some time to join us. And good luck finding some ways to kill the time. Are you a Netflix person? Are you watching anything to kill some time here?
Yeah, I'm not a Netflix person, but I think everybody's become, Netflix and Amazon Prime. My wife and I watched, a really good series, at least the beginning of the series, Designated Survivor, and thought it was terrific. Yeah. Man, but we normally, I've done a lot, I love to read and have a lot more opportunity. So, I've crushed about maybe 6 books, through the last few weeks. So that's been a good thing. What kind of books are you reading? Are you reading sports books, baseball books, or what? Are you reading novels? What kind of books are you reading? Nonfiction. Okay. Usually I flip back and forth every other book. I usually read a biography, and then usually biographies of players or coaches of any sport. Like right now I'm on a book, Full Count by David Cohn. I read Let's Play 2 by Ernie Banks, but then also some self-improvement. Usually I alternate back and forth to like a self-improvement book. Just finished one from a mental conditioning coach named Trevor Millard. It Takes What It Takes, which is an outstanding book. So just back and forth. I'm not I'm not a fiction guy. Just for whatever reason, like biographies. If I can pick up something through the self-improvement books to share with the team, different messages, it's always good. Your favorite baseball book of all time? Wow, favorite baseball book. Man, I don't know. I hate when people ask me that. I get caught up. But, one of my favorite books of all time, and it's really, it's kind of a clash between fiction and nonfiction, is by Andy Andrews, a terrific author that's out of Orange Beach, and Traveler's Gift. But he's got a lot of neat fiction books, and that's really a handful of fiction books that I've read. But Andy Andrews, Lead, for God's Sake, another fiction book. So now I'm giving you all the fiction books. But terrific. Those are some ones that I remember. But love the biographies of coaches, Belichick and Michael Jordan, and just reading about their lives. It's just, to me, it's a story, but it's just neat because you've seen it and maybe you lived through it, and it just kind of puts a lot of things in perspective for you. There you go, folks. There's some book recommendations from Mike Bianco. Everybody's looking for things to kind of kill some time. There's some book recommendations from Mike Bianco. Coach, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Awesome. Thanks, Eli. Appreciate it anytime. All right, that's Mike Bianco, Ole Miss baseball coach. How about that? The old man at 52 dislocates his finger in the middle of the 2-2 basketball game, pops that baby back in place, and still picks up the W. No blood, no foul. just picking up the W. That's how you get it done. As he said, when you're borderline being able to get in the games anyway, because you're kind of eliminated by the 4 kids, when you do get that opportunity, you can't bow out because of a dislocated finger. I thought the funny part, he said his son popped it back in for him. I know from experience, popping back in a dislocated finger hurts like hell. The funny thing is, because Drew had tweeted that it had happened, because he was the teammate, and he said, we still got the W. He said a true Kobe moment from him at 52 years old. And then Sam, the other kid, retweeted that and said, by the way, just to let you know, I'm the one that caused the dislocated finger. I'm like, why are you taking credit for no blood, no foul? Why do you want to take credit for dislocating Dad's finger and then still losing to him as well after that? We'll wrap up hour number 1 right after this. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at barksdaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say barks.
Pastor Chris from Living Testimonies in Somerville, Tennessee invites you and your loved ones every Sunday on Sports 56 to praise God and worship with us from 10 to 11 a.m. on AM 560, FM 87.7, and FM 96.1. I have recently attended Living Testimonies in Somerville. What really touched my heart is the love and joy of Christ I felt from their faith-filled community, and the music was very anointed, a real revival on the way. If you feel alone or need a Holy Spirit booster shot, like you're standing on the glory spout of the living water, join us this Sunday from 10 to 11 a.m. and worship with us. Every person is a living testimony. Thank you, Pastor Chris, and your beautiful holy community of love and light in Christ. And if you have a prayer request, please call 731-443-4100. We will pray with you over the phone. God bless you.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Let's do it.
Thank you very much to Mike Bianco taking some time to join us. Mississippi State, the other big school down there in the SEC in Mississippi, well, their basketball team is having a mass exodus. Robert Woodard has announced that he is entering the draft, and this is not a testing the waters. He said he is all in. So they have had Reggie Perry, with no surprise, he is going to the draft. Robert Woodard is entering the draft, and 5 guys have entered the transfer portal. Ben Howland is going to have a whole new look to his team at Mississippi State for next season. I mean, that is a mass exodus going on there. But Robert Woodard is projected by, I think most or at least some to be a first-round pick. So no surprise that he would go. And, of course, Reggie Perry, outstanding year that he had, SEC Player of the Year, entering the draft as well. But 5 different guys. They've got them in Wichita State, I think, have populated the transfer portal the most. Wichita State is up. Is it 5 right now at Wichita State, I think?
At least with Mississippi State, it's like you have a couple guys leaving for the draft. And that sort of makes sense. Like Wichita State had 6 guys just like, I don't want to be here anymore.
It's crazy. I mean, it is amazing though how many transfers there are now every single year in especially college basketball. God, I think the number's up to like 800 or something like that. I think kids, like it's insane. I mean, and that's what's like really crazy to this point with the University of Memphis is none of them are transferring. Like it's hard to be a program without at least one kid transferring out at the end of the year. Like, because every program seems to have at least one kid probably is not happy with playing time or whatever, and he wants to go somewhere else. So if the University of Memphis does not lose anybody on this team to a transfer, that is amazing, really.
People were talking about that big sort of rotation that he was playing during the year. It sort of looks like it sort of helped out to keep those guys happy.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. By the way, ESPN came out with a new mock draft, mock NBA draft. Jonathan Gavoni and the folks over at ESPN, they've got Precious Achiuwa in this one up to number 8. So he, not long ago he was by a lot of people he was in the teens. Now this one they have him in the number 8. They have James Wiseman going number 2 overall. Now, again, we still don't know the draft order, so this is just guessing, based on things like that. But I don't know if Precious Achua goes as high as 8, but I would be shocked if he's not in the lottery.
There's so many things to like about him. The only thing that's lacking is the offensive game, and we've seen guys look like a Pascal Siakam be able to develop that offensive game. So I can see where he could go that high. I don't think he will, but I think in the teens is a good spot for him.
To me, I see him between like 10 and the end of the lottery, basically 10 to 14 type range. But because if you watch him shoot, like it's weird because he can, like, one shot can look great, the next shot can look terrible. But like he at least shows, like, at times, like he has the form to shoot the basketball. And I think, and just what he can do on the defensive end, guarding all the different positions, that's what they just, froth at the mouth over now in the NBA. Is like, oh my God, look at his versatility defensively. I think, to me, he's a lottery pick. I'm not sure about as high as number 8, but, and the other thing too, we don't know what the process is going to be, what the workout situation is going to be, so that will play a big part in this year's draft as well. We check in with Greg Gaston next here on Sports 56 Middays as we begin hour number 2 on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender. Hey sports fans, you already know the Butcher Shop has been a great Memphis tradition since 1981, and it still is. The Butcher Shop is absolutely open for your takeout with curbside pickup or Grubhub delivery because the Butcher Shop is still serving your favorite steaks, fish, and seafood. But now you can also pick them up raw and take them home to cook. You get the highest quality from the Butcher Shop and the comfort of home cooking. All wine and beer selections can be sold and picked up curbside as well. Plus, order curbside and pickup and receive 10% off your food order. And how about Burger Fridays? Treat your company to lunch, and the Butcher Shop will deliver Hamburger Friday any day of the week with all the fixins for just a minimum $250 order. The Butcher Shop is here for you, so don't worry about getting a great meal. The Butcher Shop has cooked or uncooked meals for curbside pickup or Grubhub delivery. Call 757-4244 or online at thebutchershop.com. The Butcher Shop at the Agri Center, Walnut Grove, and Germantown Parkway.
Hilo Commercial Services can help protect your workplace and employees. Call Hilo Commercial Services today to help mitigate the dangerous effects of the coronavirus and the flu virus. Hilo offers complete deep cleaning and sanitizing services for schools, churches, medical facilities, office buildings, residential, warehouses, and more, all customized to your needs. Put safety first with Hilo Commercial Services. Call Philip right now at 901-277-6733. 901-277-6733. It's time for Hilo Commercial Services.
This is Eli Savoie from Sports 56 Middays. During this coronavirus pandemic, all of us at Sports 56 urge you to please stay home, practice social distancing, and wash your hands often. While you're home, stay connected with Sports 56. Turn on Sports 56 on your radio, computer, phone, or smart speaker and stay up to date and connected through us. This is a tough time for all of us, but we'll get through it with everyone doing their part. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected with Sports 56 and Sports56WHBQ.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-800-569-5440. That's 1-800-569-5440. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters, 1-800-569-5440, or visit our website at termbusters.net. Remember, 1-800-569-5440. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Periscope. Don't miss out on anything. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
We're caught in a trap.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Middays, hour number 2 on this Thursday. Eli Savoie here in studio. Going to check in with Greg Gaston in just a moment. Gabe Kuhn here as well. You can always join the program via the First Bank text line, 67129. First Bank phone line, 360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Show brought to you each and every day by the great folks over at FedEx. Coming up in this hour, going to check in with Greg. Also going to talk with Brandon Lang. In our final hour today, Jordan Reed on the NFL Draft. We've got 2.5 questions coming up as well on today's program. But right now, we do want to check in with my partner, Greg Gaston, who hopefully completed the correct homework assignment for today. We shall see. Greg, how are you?
Hello, Eli. Yeah, I did some work yesterday. By the way, Lang is going to be a hoot. That is must-listen radio coming up here at 11:25 because Brandon must be bouncing off walls with no gambling going on.
I'm very interested to see what he has been doing. I'm a little scared of what he might be doing. I don't know. I don't know. I felt the need to check in with him because I'm worried about him. I have to believe he has watched The Tiger King, and I want to get his thoughts on that. That's really my.
Oh, I'm sure he has. But you know what? I should change what I just said. There's no sports as we know it, but there is sporting events, or there are sporting events going on around the world. And who knows how far-reaching it is for a guy like Brandon Lang if he even cares about laying some bets down or doing anything with Russian hockey or cricket in India or wherever else they're playing sports. But I know they're doing stuff because I'm on the streak. You know, ESPN has the little thing, the streak, where you pick games, and it's something I've done for years and years. I'm not real good at it. I think the longest streak I had was like 10, and people win money off this thing, but they're usually putting together like 40 event winning streaks. And I'm looking at some of the things that are on the streak and just, you've never heard of anything. So you're just taking a stab at it. It's one or the other. You got a 50-50 chance. Let me give you an example here. All right. So, at 11:25, so starting here very soon is the, ESL Pro League Season 11 Stage 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
FNATIC, 14.7% chance of winning, but I picked Natus Vincer, their 85.3% chance, according to ESPN. So I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what sport it is. You know, you got the next thing is the Flashpoint Season 1 winner stage. Who will win this one? Like, I think that might be a video game type thing. Table tennis, Men's Liga Pro. Who will win this matchup? So there are events out there. I don't know how degenerate Brandon's followers are or Brandon himself, but I'm sure you'll find that out very quickly. But anyway, listen, I did do the list yesterday, and I probably still didn't listen to your exact rules. But
this really isn't complicated. This is a very simple thing here. I will repeat for folks who do not know. I asked the question, if I could magically teleport you right now to any sporting event that's ever happened, which one would you choose to go to? So what did you come up with?
Well, I'm going to give you a list because I did a top 10. I did a top 10, and I broke it down to two ways. And I know, look, I did the top 10. This will answer your question. And then I did a personal 5 favorites, which would not be on this list. So in other words, these are the 10 I would go to. And then from a personal standpoint, teams that I follow, teams that I care about, I put that list together. So I'm talking about the great sporting events of all time. here's my top 10. Number 10 was the 92 NCAA East Regional basketball tournament where Leitner hit the shot, Duke, Kentucky. Number 9, this may surprise you guys a little bit, but the 1999 Women's World Cup final with the United States winning the Brandi Chastain sports bra deal. That's number 9.
That's a good
eight,
one.
Okay. Number 8, the NCAA championship game between Houston and NC State, the Lorenzo Charles putback.
That was
That's number 8.
I did not have any college basketball games that made my top 10, although that was my top college basketball game.
Okay. Number 7, the 97 Masters, which was, I think, your first pick. That was the Tiger Woods' first major win, obviously his first Masters win, and he won by 12 strokes.
Yes.
A runaway win.
Unbelievable.
Number 6, and of course this is one where nobody saw unless they were actually there because there's no film, but Wilt's 100-point game in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
That was number 2 on my list.
Number 5, the 72 AFC Championship game, the Immaculate Reception, Pittsburgh and the Raiders. Unbelievable. I remember watching that on television, just one of the great monumental moments of NFL history and sports history, for that matter.
I don't care to see the Steelers win a game.
See, I'm not looking at you. It's just obviously the Colts are my favorite team, but I think that was just such a monumental moment in sports. Number 4, and this still gives me goosebumps when I watch this on tape or I watch it in a movie because it's been shown, I think, a couple of times in like horse racing movies. But Secretariat winning the Triple Crown, winning at Belmont by 31 lengths.
See,
record time.
I brought that up to Gabe the other day, and Gabe just had no interest in going to watch Secretariat blow away the field at the Belmont.
It was just, again, I saw it on television live, and I was young. I was a kid at 73, so I was 12 years old. But I remember it's like unbelievable. The horse is about to finish, and the other horses are making the turn. It was monumental.
Reason I did not put that in my top 10 at all, and I wouldn't consider any horse races, is if I'm teleporting back to a sporting event, I don't want it to be a 2-minute event.
I'm interested in it. I would go there, but like, is it in my top 10? No.
I thought of it. I was like, I'm not wasting my teleport ability to go to something that lasts 2 minutes. Like, I've got enough stuff in my life that only lasts 2 minutes. I do not need to be wasting this.
Yeah, but it's the greatest 2 minutes in sports. And I wonder if you teleport back, you get to see the other races at Belmont that day. Some other great races where you can do a lot of betting and a lot of drinking. I don't know. It's a fun day. Number 3 on my list, 86 Masters, Nicklaus winning his 18th major at the age of 46. And they had some of that yesterday on ESPN. Number 2, Ali Frazier won the fight of the century, as it was dubbed, at Madison Square Garden. Frazier won by decision. Now, some people might be, why didn't you pick like Ali Frazier 2 or 3? You know, obviously the 2 of the 3 were at the Garden, I think. But I thought the first one, you know, it started that trilogy. It went the distance. It was, like I said, dubbed the fight of the century. And I remember as a little boy listening to that fight on radio with my father. So that brings back a lot of memories.
It's amazing to me how many people, like with text and everything else, have included boxing matches. Like, and it's always the heavyweight matches. But if we've had the Thriller in Manila, we've had the Rumble in the Jungle. Now we've got, like, they all have these names. But we've had a lot of folks who have come in with these classic heavyweight fights from back in the day.
Well, I thought about those other ones, but do I want to go to Zaire or Manila? I don't know, man. I'm afraid, man. We're battling COVID-19 now, man. There was probably some stuff going on, man. I just don't want to deal with. It was not a nice little area to be in, man, with diseases and things of that nature. So I thought Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world. Why wouldn't I want to watch one of the great fights of all time in New York City at Madison Square Garden? So, but I can understand people wanting to go to Manila, the Philippines, or go to Africa to watch, again, simply some of the best fights that we've ever had. Number 1's Miracle on Ice. USA over USSR, semifinals that would go on to win the gold. The Miracle, as they said. I mean, why not? Why not go back to watch a great moment in U.S. sports history? So that's number 1. So I put together my personal top 5. So these are teams or schools that I either cover or I care about, right? So number 5, because we've covered and we're so invested in Memphis, even though they lost the 2008 NCAA championship game, which I was actually at, and went to overtime. Everybody knows the result, but I put that at number 5 on my personal top 5. Number 4, 2008 World Series, Phillies knocking off the Rays. I would go back to Game 5, which was the clincher at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies won 4-1. They won the series, or they won the game 4-3 and won the series 4-1. Number 3 would be Maryland's 2002 NCAA men's basketball title. They won 64-52 over Indiana. They played that at the Georgia Dome. Number 2 would be the 1980 World Series Game 6 at Veterans Stadium when the Phillies won the game 4-1 over the Royals and won the World Series 4-2. Take that, Don Wade. Steve Carlton, the winning pitcher. And then number 1, Super Bowl 5, Colts 16-13 over your Cowboys in the Orange Bowl in Florida, Orange Bowl Stadium, and Jim O'Brien won it with a field goal. There you go. That's my list.
Okay, so now we'll go back to the original question. If you can go to one, and you are Greg Gaston, are you going to the Colts game or are you going to the Miracle on Ice?
I'm going to the Miracle on Ice.
Okay.
I'm going to the Miracle on Ice.
So if you threw in Super Bowl 5, where would that land on your top 10?
Well, I mean, I put these 10 together because these are things some of them I never saw, some of them so I didn't experience this thing. Super Bowl 5, I remember watching it, I remember the Colts victory. It would certainly be something I would consider on the list, but I was trying to look outside of the things that are personal to me and just some of the great sports moments of all time. So if I put that on this list, I would put it probably at number 4.
Okay, so it's a
put
top
it number
5,
4.
Top 5 moment. All right. Well, do you think the ESPN Horse Challenge presented by State Farm will be an answer for you 40 years from now?
No. No. And some of the guys that are in it, obviously Mike Conley, which will be neat to see the former Grizz, Mike Conley, playing in it. But I'm definitely going to watch it because it gives us something fresh. But I mean, really, I know we're all reaching, but we have to reach. It's freaking horse, for goodness sakes. I'm not enthralled by it, but I will more than likely watch it because again, it's fresh programming.
No, I will watch. At least I may not watch the entire thing Sunday night, like all 4 quarterfinals. I mean, that's we'll see how fast this goes. I mean, horse can go on for a long time if nobody misses shots. Like that's the thing. Like a game of horse can go on for quite some time. Me and my brothers used to have some epic games of horse. But we shall see. But
they're limited,
right? Watch.
Well, they're going to have to limit the rules because you got females involved as well. What are you going to do? Is dunking going to be allowed?
Dunking is prohibited.
There you go. I knew they had some special. So everyone's got like a Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs thing going here. You know, I guess you equal the field by allowing no dunking.
Yeah, it's the rules they have is as a coin toss at the start of each game will determine who shoots first, with the more senior player calling heads or tails. Players must describe each shot attempt, specifying the type of score they intend to make before taking a shot, such as a bank shot or swish. Dunking is prohibited.
Okay, so how do they gauge how far out they are? Is it measured out on their own court, or they just have a kind of a roundabout area of where they're shooting from?
If you can look at where the one person shot from and kind of get a pretty good idea, I guess, of where you need to shoot from.
Right.
So
you know how we did it as kids, right? You either be like a wet spot from rain, and you put your foot right there. Okay, that's where I shot it from. You just hold the spot.
Yeah,
right?
You just stand there. We just stood there until the other person came over. Like, all right, shoot from right here. And then there was always there were always going to be arguments because it's brothers, but like we always had arguments. But I was farther back than that or whatever. Like there's always going to be arguments in that type of stuff. But we'll see. But I think this should be this could be a little bit of fun. I mentioned earlier, so the Memphis Tigers do not get Alex O'Connell. Next week we find out about Jalen Green. We're supposed to anyway, and then the following week Greg Brown. How do you think it matters that they missed out on O'Connell?
No, I mean he's a Duke guy, right? So he was recruited by Duke, and I assume this guy was a very good shooter. All right, he's a guard, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a ton about him, so that would have helped because it's a team that's lacking in the outside shooting category. But Creighton, a team that already I thought was pretty darn good this past season. I don't know what they have coming back. I assume the bulk of their team. That's a nice addition for them. I know Memphis went hard after him, but they're still trying to find that shooter out there.
Yeah, I mean they're just trying to find offense. To me, I mean they went and got the junior college kid who is a defensive stalwart, but they still need offense. Great. Again, now there should be some improvement offensively from the guys they have. You certainly hope so. But yeah, there's whether it's shooting or just any kind of scoring, they can use the help.
Well, look, Jalen Green will really help whatever team he ends up going to if he ends up going the college route. I'm still not 100% sold that he's going to the college. I still think there's a good chance that he turns professional, but Memphis feels good. They feel pretty good. Everything that I've read and I've talked to a few people, they still feel pretty strong, but we've had people on the show. I think last week I had somebody on while you were away from the studio. I think it was last week that talked about Auburn, I believe, or LSU, one of those schools being the front runner and not Memphis for Jalen Green. And that would be a big loss if they aren't able to get him, because I know they haven't put all their eggs into the one basket, but they put a lot of those eggs into the Jalen Green basket. So if he ends up going somewhere else, that's critical. And Greg Brown, I mean, the thought now is that Greg Brown, who knows if Shaka Smart had been relieved of his duties, maybe it's a different story, but I think most people believe now he's going to commit to Texas because Shaka's back, and Greg Brown more than likely is a one-and-doner. So you're probably not going to get that guy. So where do you go after that if you lose out on both of those players?
Yeah, the way I again, I'm not into this deeply, but it seems as though it's Jalen Green, the top competition is Auburn, and Greg Brown, the top competition would be Texas. I think it seems like people are feeling better about Jalen Green for Memphis, although I mean, when you're recruiting against Bruce Pearl and that staff, yeah, that's who knows what's going on.
Well, I know what you're leaning at right there with that statement, because we also asked the last expert we had on, and again, excuse me that I can't remember all the names. Everything is blending into one day, but we asked him about Moussa Cisse, because the thought was, Moussa Cisse comes to Memphis, the whole connection, he's definitely going to play for the University of Memphis. And whether it be this year, whether he gets the makes the decision to try. I don't know how you can make up all that time in another year of prep while this is going on, but maybe, everything's online, so who knows. But if he decided to do that or wait till next year, most people believe that, it's Memphis, right? Well, this guy came on and he said, no, it's Auburn. Auburn's the leading candidate. You think, wait a minute, Auburn, Bruce, how does he keep doing this thing, right? So,
boy, I wonder how.
I wonder
how they just continue to get players, huh? Who knows? Who knows how they're doing it?
But
certainly the FBI doesn't.
Yeah,
or maybe they do, but the NCAA doesn't.
That's the frustrating part, though, because again, when you're dependent on one or two of these big name guys, and if you don't get any of them, now you're scrambling. And I know I'm not saying that Penny and his staff doesn't have second and third and four game plans together. 2, 3, 4 game plans together in case we don't get this guy. We'll try to go this route. But right now, it's just with not being able to meet with these guys, bring them in, go visit them. All you can do is talk to them. I don't know. They're at a disadvantage, but then every team is at that disadvantage. So you're all in the same boat as far as trying to recruit players that are still available. And they got the junior college kid, but they may have to go down that avenue again and get another junior college kid or a grad transfer to play immediately, because you're right. They're going to need to find some offense unless all of a sudden the guys, and you assume right now, because nothing's been mentioned, that Boogie and Lester and all those guys are coming back, that they improve vastly. That's the hope, right? From the freshman year to the sophomore year, they got that all out of their system, that they'll be much better. But they're still going to need a lot more firepower. And Jalen Green answers a lot of questions, but then again, he also brings in the uncertainty of being a young player making the transition, just like it was for everybody else on this team that struggled this year, with the exception of Precious.
If they were to miss out on Green and Brown, how much depression do we hit here around town?
Yeah, it would be bad, Eli. I mean, it really be bad. But I've always thought that Brown there was a good chance to get Brown, even more than Green, because I always said I kept saying it, not because I know the guy and I talked to the guy, but you know me, I kept saying that I think Jalen Green's going to turn pro. So I thought they had a better shot for a while there at Brown. But once the Shaka Smart news came down that they were retaining him, I thought they're not going to get Greg Brown, so he's out of the equation. Now, what about Jalen Green? So we've seen, if you follow social media with some of those Tigers players like Boogie Ellis, people asking Boogie about Jalen Green. He said, basically we're recruiting him, just like last year when everybody was recruiting after Wiseman committed. Everybody was trying to recruit the other guys, and they jumped aboard. It's something that's ongoing, and it probably will be for Memphis for years to come under this regime. That they'll be going after the big-name players. Once they land one, they'll be trying to recruit other big-time players to come with them. So I don't know if it'll work or not with Green, but if they don't get either one of those guys, Eli, I don't know where they go from here, because I don't think this team, even with a year under their belt for the freshmen and another year under the belt of the sophomores like Harris and Lomax, I don't think it's that strong of a team. I think it's a good team. I don't know if it's that strong of a team to make a big run in the tournament.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. I mean, it's if they don't lose anybody to transfer, like, it's amazing because of the world of college basketball today. You just assume at least one person would leave. Now, granted, they already had Ryan Boyce, during the year, but you just look around. I was talking about Mississippi State is like losing their entire roster as we continue through the offseason. Right. But if they don't have any of these guys transfer, that's pretty amazing. But this, I don't see vast improvement enough from these guys that, like, if you don't add some at least a good player or two, that you're going to be that much better than you were this year. I mean, you're losing Precious, like who was your best player by far, was the conference player of the year. If all you're adding is a couple of little junior college pieces or something, and you're losing him, you can't expect to be any better, really.
Right. It does say a lot about the coaching staff and the love of the program and the city for the players if they don't lose any of them to a transfer. That says an awful lot, and that might bode well in the minds of recruits moving forward, because we obviously know the hit that will be out there with the James Wiseman fiasco, and then this deal that's hovering over the school with the independent what is the IARP that will be looking at the situation for Memphis. I mean, these are things that are just, a recruit will look at and go, I don't know if I want to go near there. But I think the fact, if all these guys do stay, it says an awful lot about their love for the program and for the coaching staff. And again, that may bode well with these recruits. But yeah, I don't know where you go from here with if you miss out on both those guys, Green and Brown, and I think there's a chance. But if you get Jalen, there's going to be a lot of celebrating, and that's going to be coming up pretty soon, right? The
next week,
is it?
It's next week.
Yeah, so it's here before you know.
Next Wednesday is when he is supposed to be making his announcement. Greg, enjoy the rest of your day, buddy.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Right. Somebody had texted in and said that Tigers need a ball handler, and Penny may jump out and steal a really good point guard. Well, theoretically, they don't need a point guard, or they don't need a point guard. Like, they got Alex Lomax, Boogie Ellis, and Damian Ball. Like, I don't think they think like, oh, we have to go get a point guard. Like, if you go get a guy, if you got a special player, like, you're going to take him. But they're not like out there going, oh gosh, we have to go get a point guard. Like, they got three basically on the roster.
Next season, in my opinion, doesn't rely on what you do in recruiting in this offseason. It's about what you do to develop what you have on your roster right this second, because it doesn't look like any of them are going to transfer at this moment. And you had, just truthfully, a big recruiting class last year. Like, a big recruiting class. There's a lot of guys that you brought. I think it was 6. So, I mean, deal with them, and the recruiting will sort of come secondary.
But
for the most part,
if they could get Jalen Green, great. If they miss Green and Brown, there's going to be some people that are going to start getting really worried, I think, about what could be going on. When we come back, Brandon Lang, hopefully he's okay to join us. We'll have the dump button ready. Brandon Lang next on Sport 56 Middays, Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and C.J. Hertz. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Bases loaded here at the top of the ninth. And the pitch. And it's out of here.
We deliver baseball caps, mitts, and everything you need to get ready for the game. But what you really get when FedEx knocks on your door is so much more.
FedEx Delivery.
Game day spirit. What we deliver by delivering.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick. There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking, no telephone pole to get in your way, a cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Sports 56 would like to recognize local businesses that are out there still feeding and providing for the community via curbside pickup. Let's support local business with your business. These local businesses include East Memphis Ace Hardware, The Butcher Shop, El Toro Loco on Kirby, Bartlett Small Engines, Spirit Shop Liquor Store, Five Ash Roofing, Tactical Guns and Ammo, and Wolf Chase Lemon Brace. Sports 56 appreciates the support of local businesses always, but especially during this time. Thank you.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Welcome back here. Sport 56 Middays. Trying to hook up with Brandon Lang. Scheduled to be joining us here. Again, hopefully he's okay. I worry about Brandon during this time. I'm not gonna lie about that. Yesterday, Brett McMurphy was tweeting about a survey he did of ADs in FBS. And he said that in his little survey, 88% of FBS ADs want an expanded college football playoff. I don't know how many he talked to, all of that, but 88% said that they want an expanded playoff. This is when the deal ends in 2025-26. 72% of those want 8 teams, 11% want 16 teams. So 88% of the ADs, if 88% of the ADs want an expanded playoff, you have to believe we're going to get an expanded playoff once that deal runs out in 2025-26. Well, right now, we are going to check in with our buddy. Because I've been concerned about him. I got to know what he's doing. He could probably help us out on things to kill a little time during our social distancing. It is our buddy for BrandonLang.com, the Sharp Edge podcast of the Believe Podcast Network, Brandon Lang. Brandon, how are you, buddy?
First time in 30 years I'm unemployed.
So you're not like handicapping like cricket matches or anything like that, right?
Bro, listen, I have told people that my favorite movie I'm living one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies is Groundhog Day. And my life is Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. No matter what time I go to bed, I wake up between 6:30 and 7. No matter what time I go to bed. I go to bed at 1 o'clock. Come downstairs, I shut off the porch light and the light to go outside, get my first 2 dogs, take them outside, get my cup of coffee, sit down, turn on the TV. At 7:20, I'll go upstairs, get the other 3 dogs, bring them downstairs, take them outside, wait to feed them at 8. Get online, play my first World Series of Poker event of the day, and we'll sit at the kitchen table for the next 8 hours and play World Series of Poker online, unless my wife needs me to go one of 2 places, the grocery store or the drugstore. Other than that, I'll wait for my brother to call, we'll go play golf, and then I'll go to bed. And I'll wake up and I'll do it all over again. It's crazy, brother. I mean, it's like, it's twofold. Listen, my heart goes out to everybody, and I know people are living off their savings now, and not to get, we're all having to dig into our savings and live off our savings, and then hopefully when this gets back up and going and the world gets back to where it was, unfortunately, people, the money they set aside for entertainment purposes only to gamble, they've used that money to survive. So my business won't come back till probably, I'm estimating, probably November when people get back on their feet. But for me mentally, it's, poker's great because it keeps my mind active, running numbers, watching the table, seeing who's doing what, and calculating things. But other than that, it's weird for me to not wake up in the morning, handicap a game. Listen, I'll tell you one thing right now. I've never been hotter as a handicapper right now than I've ever been. Man, I'm hitting every game I watch on TV from last year. I swear to God.
You're nailing them.
I'm nailing him. I had a 200 dime play on Wisconsin over Kentucky. It was 38-0. I like Wisconsin in that spot. Went in there in the Final Four and beat them. Unbelievable. And then, what's funny is watching all the replay of all the games from a few years ago. Games I lost, I won now. Unbelievable. I had Wisconsin over Duke in the NCAA finals a few years back after they beat Kentucky. The game was on the other night, and, man, I was all over Duke minus the points. Man,
you learn from your mistakes. That's all you can do.
You really do. So I'm watching replay games, and I swear to God, I've stick my TV on the NFL Network. I'm watching all the Super Bowls over again. I'm watching, playoff games all over again. To get my fix of sports. Listen, I watched Golden State and Cleveland. I watched that NBA game, games 5, 6, and 7. Oh my God. Well, gives you a chance to sit back and go back through just games that you missed or you didn't really pay attention to, because from a handicapping standpoint, I watch them and I get upset as the game goes, because I have a certain side and it's not looking very good. Now that that's washed over and you can go back and watch the game from a more objective standpoint to enjoy it, man, it's been great. And then I had to relive Memphis and Kansas. That was a stinger.
You can't bring that one up around here. That one,
I know.
People here still can't watch it.
Yep, I agree. Bill, listen, the NCAA championship that Bill Self has won, he had no right ever winning, period. And they praise him as just this ungodly great coach. Are you serious? Mm-hmm. The 2 most overrated coaches in NCAA college basketball history are Bill Self and Mike Krzyzewski. Now, people might take a step back and say, Lang, you are off your rocker, but just stay with me. Bill Self and Mike Krzyzewski have had more talent to work with than any other coaches we've ever seen, and yet they haven't done the most with it. Period. Look at the team with Williamson and Barrett and Redick
last year
to lose to Michigan State with the talent they had. He's so overrated and people love him, but that's it, man. I mean, well, how you doing? I mean, you still did get sports talk radio and stuff like that, but it's killing us, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. Like, Yeah, I mean, it's when there's no games going on. Luckily, the NFL has provided us some news, and obviously we will have the draft next week and all of that good stuff there, or not next week, 2 weeks from now. But there's stuff going on. But yeah, when there's not games, for your business and just the gambling business as a whole, what if there's no football?
Well, listen, people, again, they think I'm crazy for saying this, but the power of the NFL versus the power of the NBA and the power of Major League Baseball, there's no comparison.
No.
There's no comparison from a TV revenue standpoint, advertising standpoint. There's at the NFL will play. No doubt about it. And I believe they will start on time, or they will figure out a way to start on time, even if they play with nobody in the stands. They will figure out a way to do this. Now, with that being said, for me and for people to understand, even if the NFL comes back, NBA comes back, people don't have the money to gamble.
Exactly.
I'm not just talking about BrandonLang.com and come buy a pick and bet a pick. No, I'm talking about casinos all over the world, offshore sports books, casinos here in Vegas, your legal casinos in states that now have it. People don't have the money to gamble, so the take is going to be way down. Rich people who gamble will still gamble because obviously they have a bankroll. But listen, most of your online wagering is between $5 and $25.
Yeah,
those people don't have that kind of money. So the take is going to be way down. The handle's going to be way down until this can all build back up. So, it's crazy.
So, with Vegas, with the idea that the Strip is shut down and has been for quite some time and will be, we don't know how much longer. Like, how long does it take for Vegas to recover?
4 months. Because it falls along the same lines of, listen, let's work off your normal American family. You set aside money for your vacation for the year. You set aside, everything's budgeted for the year. And so you've budgeted your vacation budget. We're going to go to Vegas and we're going to do this. I will tell you this, the best time to Vegas is going to be when this breaks, because you are going to be able to get hotel rooms.
Yes.
Now listen, you're going to have to sit in your hotel room, watch TV, and order room service because you got no money to gamble. But the room rates that you're going to get people back to Vegas is going to be unbelievable.
Yes,
the entire town. We have dear friends that are dealers, dear friends that are cocktail waitresses, dear friends that they are stir crazy right now. So even when the town starts back up, you're not going to get people coming into town because they don't have the money. I keep saying that, but that's the reality of what we're dealing with when life starts back up, especially in a gambling industry like Las Vegas. I mean, there's 6 golf courses open. Royal Links, which is, I call it one of the best hidden gems in all of Las Vegas, because of all 18 holes are after British Open courses and holes. So number 8 is the postage stamp hole from Royal Troon. Number 10 is the road hole of St. Andrews.
Oh, cool.
That is identical. The only thing missing is there's the Royal Link scoreboard rather than the hotel. It is my favorite course, and it's in my top 10 to play. And it's usually 200 and change, and you can run out there and play for $40. The pin is in. You don't, remove the pin.
Yep.
You have your social distancing. So for me, playing a lot of golf with my bro, but even if it starts back up, it'll be great to handicap games again and get in my routine. But, as far as customers coming and whatever, I just think it's going to be different restarting life. But I'm doing everything I can not to gain weight. I'm not. It's so
believe
tough.
me, I feel like I'm just like ballooning up because that's all I do is sit around and eat and drink all day long.
That's it. I had to tell my wife, we got to put a time on when we can start drinking. It's 7:00 because you want to start at 5. We're in bed by 9. We can't. We're old or whatever.
Oh, so you're saying 7 p.m. I thought maybe you meant 7 a.m. was the
No. I start doing that. I'll be in rehab coming out of it. I'm smart enough to know that. But it's, since this whole quarantine thing started, I think I've gained 4 pounds, which isn't bad being 57. Hot yoga's taken away from me. You can try to do it from your house, but that's not going to work because you don't get the heat. It's just everything you can to not eat. I mean, I'm looking around the house going, what can I eat next?
It's crazy. Do you guys out in Vegas? Can you find toilet paper, or is there a shortage out there too?
No, the rush per se is over.
Okay.
The funny thing is, the grocery store here in Southern Highlands, starting yesterday, finally implemented making people wait in line and only allowing a certain number of people in the store at one time. Now, Costco had done that right off the bat, Sam's Club, but our grocery store just started doing that. Now, I've heard there's a couple grocery stores about 4 miles away that aren't doing that and aren't very busy, and we'll drive to that one. But I called my boy in L.A., and who is a caddy buddy from Riviera, and he says L.A. is on lockdown to the 10th degree. Every grocery store makes you wait outside. Every place, only a few people are allowed in. He says L.A. is like the apocalypse, like something's happened, and he's expecting zombies to start running around because he says it's just crazy. The whole city of Los Angeles is just shut down. Entertainment industry, everything.
It's amazing. It's just like to think about it, like all the things that are again, like the Las Vegas Strip to me is just like I can't fathom that just being shut down. Like there's always so many people there, no matter what hour of the day it is, and for that to just be shut down is so crazy to me.
Yeah, there's a video of 2 geese and their 5 babies walking right down the middle of the strip in front of Bellagio.
That's just...
And somebody took the video. If you drive right down the middle of the strip right now, believe it or not, there's still people out walking the strip just because they can.
Yeah.
It's almost like that movie, Will Smith, where it's the monsters come out during what is that? Where he's the survivor in New York City.
Yeah.
And he goes out.
What is the name of that movie? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the way the Las Vegas Strip looks like per se to, they're portraying New York. There's just nothing. There's security guards outside casinos so people can't break in. But other than that, it's really eerie. It's crazy. And I keep saying that, but it's like you never thought America or the world could get shut down by something like this. Now, with that being said, I'm fortunate enough to live in a city that doesn't have a major outbreak. We're one of the lowest, not only states that it's not really blown up, but as a city, it's not really blown up at all. So not like New York City where you go out, you touch something, you're going to get it. Here, it's unbelievable. Like everybody in New York wears masks and gloves, and you'd be surprised going out in Las Vegas that a lot of people aren't wearing masks and gloves. There's just no big breakout. There's no panic button being pushed here like other places of the country. So knock on wood, we're pretty fortunate there.
Have you watched Tiger King?
I've watched Tiger. I got so many recommendations for you.
Okay, I've seen Tiger. I got to get I want your review of Tiger King. First of all, I have to believe you, like everybody else, believe Carol Baskin absolutely killed the husband, right?
Oh, without question. And the fact that listen, I'm a big Forensic File guy, and so if you haven't watched Forensic File 2, which is the new season, there's 13 episodes going. I'm surprised that she didn't get busted. There were so many. Her brothers in the sheriff's department and help, do some slippy. I get all that, but it's so obvious that man was murdered by her. And you talk about we see a lot of people in the public eye that will watch a show and turn it off and go, that could be like Roger Goodell is one of the biggest hypocrites on the face of the planet Earth. And I say that because he doesn't embrace gambling, doesn't talk about gambling, but he's got to be pretty smart to know what gambling means to his league. Adam Silver recognizes that, and he's jumping on board. The NHL commissioner understands that and jumped on board with Adam Silver, and Goodell still fights it. It's comical. One of the top 5 biggest hypocrites I've ever seen in my life is Carol Baskin, because she's turning around and doing the same exact thing that these other 2 knucklehead Unger did and Joe Exotic did. She's doing the same exact thing. The difference is they have to pay their employees, and she gets volunteers to do it for free.
Exactly. That's what I said. I was like, I don't understand it. Like, all she's doing is taking a tiger from one cage, putting it in a different cage, and getting like normal people to work for her and not paying them whatsoever.
Right, and she collects what she charges for people to come in, and then if you look at the living situations of at least what Joe Exotic or Unger provides and what she provides, her place is a dog shelter. It's horrible. So listen, first of all, if you're homophobic, you can't get the Tiger King. You can't. You got a gay guy with 2 teeth that looks like a parrotfish from I saw over in Australia. Meth, drugs. But from a docudrama standpoint, it's absolutely unbelievable. If you haven't watched Ozark.
Oh, yes. Ozark. I love Ozark. I was so happy when the new season came out, and I went right through that thing.
Bro, the ending of season 3 propels us for an ungodly season 4.
Yes.
Also, if you haven't seen the movie Contagion.
I have not seen that.
With Lawrence Fishburne, Matt Damon, Gwyneth Paltrow. Okay, for every person on the radio, online, listening to this conversation right now, go watch the movie Contagion, because this is exactly 100% what we are dealing with. It was the coronavirus before the coronavirus and how it spread. And they filmed the movie. This movie was, I believe, it was made in 2011, released in 2012, or right around there. They actually show you that the virus came from an Asian country and brought to the U.S. identical. The Contagion game plan. I had Contagion -3.5. The over was 2.4 million. Hit the parlay. And that movie was made 9 years before this crap happened. Listen.
Is it on Netflix? Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, Netflix or Amazon Prime. Okay. You can find it. I literally, I watched it when it came out. Didn't really pay attention to it. Went and watched it the other day. Your jaw is on the ground with how she got it, how she transferred it, how it moved, and the way it moved. Oh my God! Just watch Contagion. It's unbelievable.
I Am Legend, by the way. Somebody texted, and that's the movie with the Will Smith.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. So that's kind of the way it is in Vegas. But that's it, bud.
Well, I'm just glad you're doing well. I figure with the with the clubs closed and all that stuff, I don't know what you were doing. I'm glad you guys got your golf courses open out there, because that would have been really bad.
Golf courses, and you can go on. You can't, because gambling's not legal, but I've stayed in Nevada, stayed in New Jersey, whatever. You can go on worldseasonpoker.com, and I've said this before. I'm a really good poker player, but I can't sit down and grind for 8 to 10 hours on a poker table when I need to be handicapping games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The two don't. You got some great poker players out there who are tremendous handicappers. You got some great handicappers out there who are tremendous poker players, but unfortunately, we don't have the time to go to a table and grind for 12 hours. You can enter these tournaments online. It's like a $30 entry, and you can win yourself. My buddy, Dan the Man, who I don't think you've met yet, was online 3 weeks ago, $30 buy-in, and cracked the tournament for $31,000.
Wow.
But he had to play for 9 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's a big chunk of time to set aside.
So I've actually, dove into this. But even now, with all this time, it's hard for me to focus 8 hours in a multi-table tournament. I don't know how guys do the World Series of Poker. The bad beats. I told my buddy, I go, dude, I have hands one. And the dude's got a one-outer, and people go, well, what's a one-outer? Well, one-outer is there's only one card in the deck the guy has going to the river to beat you. And he gets it. And you just sit there going, wow.
That's when you
I
punch
have
the
enough
computer
trouble.
screen. That's when you can break a monitor. That's when you can get really mad at a monitor.
Well, here's what it does. I enjoy playing, and it's fun. But as soon as I have that bad beat, then now all the sports bad beats comes up, and then I'm just in an angry mood where I just want to ruin someone's life in the house. And my wife goes, "You got to stop playing. You got to stop playing." She goes, "Get out of the house. Go do something. You're just in a bad mood now." But that's taking up my time. So it's either,
I'm just glad to hear you're doing. I wanted to check in with you, see how you were doing, man, and that's good. I'm glad you're finding poker and golf to get you through the day, man. And I appreciate you taking a little time out of that to join us.
Listen, you know me. I'm always going to be a glass half full rather than a glass half empty. I'm just always going to be that. And if you put me in a room by myself alone, I'm going to figure out a way to entertain myself.
There's no doubt.
Those
Thanks,
are
man.
the ABCs of me. All right, bud. Thanks,
All right,
bud.
appreciate it. Brandon Lang joining us. He's doing all right. What? Carol Baskin was the top 5, what do you say, hypocrites of all time? Yeah, it's like, there's no doubt about that. We'll take a break, wrap up hour 2 after this. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
So this time of the year, Humdinger's is the place to go for Lent. We offer salmon, tilapia, swahi, rainbow trout, mahi, crab cakes, ahi tuna, anything you need, including our shrimp and grits. You can get any of those with our fish toppings, and you can also get them blackened with pineapple salsa, piri-piri mushroom, black bean corn salsa. Humdinger's is also in the wedding business. We are doing catering for weddings, any social events, any corporate events. You can dial our hotline at 901-260-8292.
As soon as we're back out in our yard, we get company.
Dandelions, lurking crabgrass, and wheat-thin grass. But Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action takes care of them all. Now, with one bag, you can kill weeds, prevent crabgrass for up to 4 months, and feed for greener grass. Triple Action, so your lawn thrives, guaranteed. Only from Scott's.
Weeds aren't welcome here.
This is a Scott's Yard. Pick up a bag of Scott's Triple Action today.
This is Peter Edmiston from Sports 56 Mornings. During this coronavirus pandemic, all of us at Sports 56 urge you to please stay home, practice social distancing, and wash your hands often. While you're home, stay connected with Sports 56. Turn us on your radio, phone, computer, or smart speaker and stay up to date and connected. This is a tough time for everyone, but we will get through it if we all do our part. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected with Sports 56 and sports56whbq.com.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, plus free access to specialists who have the knowledge and experience to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is CJ Hurt from Sports 56 Mornings. During this coronavirus pandemic, many of you are spending all day at home, and we remind you that you can stay in touch and connected through Sports 56. Turn us on your radio, computer, phone, or smart speaker and stay up to date and connected. Meanwhile, keep practicing social distancing and remember to wash your hands often, and hopefully before long, we can get back to some sort of normalcy. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected with Sports 56 and sports56whbq.com.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie. Let's do it.
Well, she was an American girl, raised up
Coming up in our final hour today, we've got 2.5 questions. Jordan Reed from the draftnetwork.com. We'll talk a little NFL draft with him. I want to get into, ESPN did a great breakdown of the quarterbacks in the draft and looking at statistics on different aspects of their game from last year. And really very, very good breakdown. And there's one category that just shocked the heck out of me as to who the best was on that. But I mentioned earlier the latest ESPN mock NBA draft. They've got Anthony Edwards going number 1 overall, James Wiseman number 2, Isaac Okoro, number 3, LaMelo Ball, 4, The kid from USC, Okongwu, Onyeka Okongwu, is that correct?
Close enough.
I always that one is one that I just can't ever. In fact, I'm always saying it wrong. They've got him at 5. The kid from I think it's the French kid, it's the kid from Maccabi Tel Aviv who is again
Denny Avdiha.
Yeah, oh wow, is that you just? I feel like you just nailed that.
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
They got him at 6. Obi Toppin at 7. That seems low for Obi Toppin.
Problem is he's 22, and a lot of these guys are 18, 19 years
that is,
old.
I mean, it's amazing, but 22 years old is like, you old man, we're not drafting you. Precious Achua, I mentioned number 8. Tyrese Halliburton, 9. Killian Hayes rounding out their top 10. R.J. Hampton, kid who went, of course, overseas last year, like some people think Jalen Green may do. They got him going at number 11. Cole Anthony at number 13. Going into this season of college basketball, nobody thought Cole Anthony would be at number 13. I guarantee that. He was supposed to be a top 5 kid for sure. Wanted to see if they have the Mississippi State kid. Yeah, Robert Woodard, they've got at 23. He's the one that just declared for the draft from Mississippi State. Cassius Winston at 29. They got Udoka Azubuike at number 31. I mean, I know he certainly is not a perfect NBA prospect, but I just feel like he's going to be able to contribute in some way with his size and just defensively what he can do. I think that's a pretty good pick if you get him in the second round. When we come back, we've got 2.5 questions, and I'll get into a little bit of that NFL quarterback draft breakdown. Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn with you. It is Sports 56 Middays on this Thursday on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Eat well and stay healthy with Sweetgrass Next Door's to-go and delivery service. From shrimp and grits to pork chops to chocolate chip cookies and more, feed your need. Located in the heart of Cooper Young Midtown, Sweetgrass Next Door makes for an easy to-go, pickup, and delivers to all of Midtown, most of downtown, and even East Memphis locations. For more information, visit online at sweetgrassmemphis.com or call 901-278-0278 to place your order today.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Sports 56 would like to recognize local businesses that are out there still feeding and providing for the community via curbside pickup. Let's support local business with your business. These local businesses include Shelby Forest General Store, Let It Fly, Moon Dance Grill, Great Wines, Germantown Wines and Liquors, Corks Wines and Liquors. Sports 56 appreciates the support of local businesses always, but especially during this time. Thank you.
wish we could stay here forever.
We deliver olives, Greek sandals, and everything you need to relive that perfect trip to the Mediterranean. But what you really get when FedEx knocks on your door is so much more.
FedEx Delivery.
Memories. What we deliver by delivering.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
It is indeed a beautiful day on this Thursday. Back to nice weather after some rain last night. Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn with you here. It is Sports 56 Middays on this Thursday, April the 9th. Good afternoon to you. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware. If you need supplies for some outdoor projects or anything that you've got going on, they got the great key fob program that they've got over there where you've need a new key fob for your car. They are the place to go. There's no doubt. They can save you a lot of money over going to a dealership or something like that. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware, located there at White Station in Quince, next to Billy Hardwick's All-Star Lanes. They bring you this hour of the program. And, of course, the show every single day is delivered by the great folks at FedEx. Got 2.5 questions coming up here in just a little bit. Jordan Reed going to talk some NFL draft at the bottom of this hour. But I did want to, on the NFL draft, so I was looking, ESPN, John Parolin from ESPN Stats and Information did a breakdown of some various stats of quarterbacks for this draft. And he did what the stats tell you, and then Todd McShay what the film tells you. And they kind of did this article about it. But they looked at Joe Burrow, Tua, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Jake Fromm, Jacob Eason, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Gordon, Nate Stanley, and Cole McDonald. That's the quarterbacks they looked at. They looked at 5 different things. So they looked first at quarterbacks under pressure. Total QBR when pressured. Joe Burrow this past season, 82.6. The next highest is Tua Tagovailoa at 44.1. I mean, it's not even close. Like it's ridiculous. His total QBR when blitzed, Burrow 91.5, Tua 91.4. So they're very close when blitzed, but under pressure, Burrow is so much better. It's unbelievable.
Burrow, and you can sort of tell just like how he plays when he's about to get hit. He does not mind taking hits. And I think he sort of mentioned that too, that he likes to get out there and hit people every once in a while.
That the QBR under pressure, that data they have, it goes back to 2011. There's only been one drafted quarterback ever above 56 in a season. And again, Joe Burrow, 82.6. The only other one's ever been above 56 was Sam Darnold at 68.4 in 2016. Patrick Mahomes was 34.9 in 2016. Like that's Deshaun Watson's best year, 31.8. And Joe Burrow, 82.6. Amazing. The deep ball, 20-plus yards downfield. Completion percentage, Joe Burrow, number 1, 56.5%. Also, the lowest off-target percentage, only off-target 24.6% of the time. So Burrow best in both of those categories. Tua, third in completion percentage. He is 5th in off-target percentage. Off-target 40% of the time on deep balls, which surprised me because I think Tua pretty darn good with the deep ball. I'm stunned that he's off-target. Was off-target with 40% of his deep balls.
I think people have over-exaggerated his arm strength, though. So I can sort of see where the deep ball is probably not his strong suit because I just don't think his arm is as good as, say, a Justin Herbert or a Joe Burrow in this class.
Justin Herbert completed 36.8% of his deep balls, was off-target 38.6% of the time. FBS averages, by the way, 35% completion, 38% off-target. The inside, in and out of the pocket. Total QBR inside the pocket, Tua 96.2, best. Outside the pocket, Burrow the best, 94.6. Going down here, I think this is the one.
Burrow can't be that far down that list of in the pocket. Right?
No, he's not. He's third. Like, well, heck, I mean, I think you could put with the year he had, I don't know if there's any situation that he could possibly have a bad QBR because he was amazing in everything he did. So this is the one, the out route. 11 to 20 yards downfield, outside the numbers. This is a trademark throw of the NFL, and this is the throw you have to be able to make in the end. People will talk about this is the kind of throw that, because the hash marks are farther in, like this is a big time throw that has to be made in the NFL that you can't necessarily get from the college game. Who do you think had the highest completion percentage of this group of quarterbacks on the out route?
So I've watched Justin Herbert's tape, and he has he throws out routes, but they're shorter. So I'm going to go, oh my gosh, that means it's not Burrow or Tua, correct?
Tua is second, Burrow is third. But Tua only threw 10 of these passes all year long. Tua was 7 of 10.
Wild guess here. Jacob Eason.
No, Jacob Eason is actually last.
Dead last? Wow.
Jacob Eason completed 38.9%. and was off target on 38.9%. Dead even in his completions versus off target. Number one in both categories. Completing 15 out of 19 of these passes and only off target 10% of the time, Jalen Hurts. I was stunned by it. I was like, I would not have guessed Jalen Hurts would be accurate on that pass.
Big weapons and playing in the Big 12. You get a lot of differentiation with your routes. So that's interesting, though. I would have never guessed that.
Jake Fromm, who everybody talks about the weak arm of Jake Fromm, threw way more of these passes than any other quarterback. He threw 54 of these passes. Hurts threw 19, Tua threw 10, Burrow threw 27. Jake Fromm threw 54 of these passes. Herbert threw 47. He's the next highest. Jake Fromm completed 53.7% of them and was only off target on 18% of them. So for a guy with a weak arm, I mean, this is the throw they look at. And obviously his coaches believe he could make this throw because they threw it way more than anybody else.
Well, the one thing you see with Jake Fromm is he's one of the smarter quarterbacks in this draft. He's just not physically – he doesn't have the physical abilities of the rest of the guys. He's got good anticipation on film and everything like that, but he's just not physically scary to go against.
Since 2011, the only drafted Power 5 quarterbacks who hit Fromm's line of at least 54 attempts, completing 53.7%, and only missing on 18.5%. I don't know what this says. What this says about him. The only two other quarterbacks to have those numbers, Mason Rudolph and Landry Jones. I guess what it says is that Jake Fromm's going to get drafted by the Steelers. Maybe that's what it says. But it's not like I'm not. That's not exactly the class you really want to be in. And go, look I'm Mason Rudolph and Landry Jones. The other thing is it's two Big 12 quarterbacks, both drafted by the Steelers. I don't know, but I was like, that's not probably a great thing. And then the other one, they just off 10 or fewer yards downfield off target. So short passes. How on target are you were on the short passes? And then they do the 11 to 20 yards downfield. The most accurate guy in the short passes is Joe Burrow and Jacob Eason. Only off target 2.6% of the time, 10 or fewer yards downfield. Herbert, 6.1% off target on short passes. 11 to 20 yards downfield, Jalen Hurts, 7.7%. The next best is Tua at 12.5%. So Jalen Hurts is downfield very, very accurate, which still stuns me.
He's better at quarterback than people give him credit for.
Nate Stanley, 21% off target over 10 yards. Or from 11 to 20. I guess over 20 yards is separate because they already did that category.
Nate Stanley also, you have to take into consideration the type of offense he's in. It's like very boring and very elementary route tree, everything like that. It's pretty easy if you're an opposing defense to sort of catch on to what they do.
But the two worst quarterbacks in the short passes, 10 or fewer yards, are Justin Herbert and Jordan Love. Love off target 9.3% of the time from 10 or fewer yards. So basically 1 out of every 10 short passes he's off target with. And on the Love on the longer passes, off target 14.9% of the time. But Love really doesn't. There's nothing in these things that Love is good at. Like his numbers. Now maybe you could say it's I don't know how they judge the on target, off target too, and how much that matters to your receiver and all of that. But like nothing that Jordan Love, none of these categories. Jordan Love is bad in quite a few. He's not good in really any of them. And yet he might, everyone believes he's a first-round draft pick. Why? When I look at this, I'm like, why? Why would he be a first-round draft pick? Who's taking him in the first round? But like Love in the deep ball, 33% completion. Off target 40% of the time. Let's see what under pressure. QBR of 18.9. When blitz 70.4. That's above average, but that's it. I mean, just above average is all those are. I mean, he's not like, I was looking at these numbers. I'm like, man, what the heck? Why do people love Jordan Love so much if you just look at some of these things that he does? But I don't know. Somebody says I would take Burrow over Tom Brady. I assume they mean right now.
I don't think that's that far off of a thing to say, considering he's 23.
Well, I mean, are you for this coming season? I'm not taking a rookie over Tom Brady, but obviously, yes, anything after this year, you're comparing a 43-year-old to a guy who's 22 or whatever. So yes, I would certainly take Tom Brady for the long haul. There's no doubt about that. But for one season coming up, I'm taking Brady just because of the experience. Like, I'm not just going to throw my faith in a rookie quarterback versus a guy who's won 6 Super Bowls. That would seem illogical.
It's pretty. I mean, that's not that much of a statement to say you'd take a 23-year-old over a 42-year-old.
Somebody else says, what is your opinion of the draft at the GM's homes? Why can't the teams have it at conference rooms with a max of 4 people? I mean, I know there's certain, now they're saying that some of these people are concerned about the IT people coming into their house to set things up. This seems like with our technology today in the end and in dealing with NFL teams who have money and everything else, this should be able to be done fairly simply. There shouldn't be any issues. This should be really easy to do. And why not do it in their homes? Again, because it should be easy to do, and you want to keep people as separated as possible. To me, this should go on without a hitch. This is 2020. We got a lot of technology, and these teams have a lot of money to make sure that hackers aren't getting in or whatever. The league has enough money. I feel like we should be able to do a draft, virtually or however you want to say electronically without any issues. But we'll see if that does happen. Time now for 2.5 questions.
Who, what, where, when, how, and why. Questions start with these. Step right up and answer all my questions, if you please.
I'm just a normal kid, like you, except that I ask questions. And because I'm brave enough to ask questions, I come under scrutiny.
Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions?
Now here is a question for you.
What does the fuck say?
Could you imagine if a hacker did get into somebody's
all
thing?
These teams, these coaches are terrified of that.
Some hacker gets in there and locks your computer up and you can't do anything. What? That'd be insane. But again, I feel like we can pull off an NFL draft this way without a problem.
Well, teams like the Patriots have cheated and found ways to cheat for years. And hacking, I guess for some teams, they don't think it's that far off a possibility. But I'm glad we actually let in with this quarterback conversation because I have a NFL draft quarterback.
All right.
Question for you. Question number 1. You're a GM, so I'm just going to ask you real quick, who are the top 2 QBs in this draft to you?
To me, it's Tua and Burrow.
Okay, now, I think there's a nice little fall off after that, and you have sort of this group of five, more three to me, but I'm going to give you 5 names. I want you to rank the next 3.
Okay.
Justin Herbert, Jacob Eason, Jordan Love, Jake Fromm, Jalen Hurts. Rank the next 3 in line. If you're a GM, who you would have as the next 3.
Before I looked at this thing here from ESPN, I would have been like probably said just off the top, I would have said Herbert, Love, Eason. Having seen these numbers, I'm not sure I would put Love in there. And I'm not sure I wouldn't put Hurts in there. If Hurts had... Because my thing on Hurts is, like, I just never believed in him being able to make the NFL throws. But, I mean, that's some pretty good numbers that he put up this past year. Not a ton. He only threw 19 of those out routes, but still.
With Jordan Love, I think we do need to take into consideration, like, his junior year, or was it sophomore?
His sophomore, because he was
his sophomore year. He came out early. So his sophomore year was really, really good. Loses his 3 highest sort of producing weapons and a coach. So he had to learn a complete new system for his senior year, and I can see where the statistics fell off a cliff. So I think there is some consideration, but when you watch his tape, I mean, he's 6'4.5", 220, athletic, good arm. But again, that's your preference, whether you want to keep him in or out.
But I also then look at this too, like Eason's numbers, not good. I would probably Herbert, no question. Like I do believe Herbert is the next quarterback. I mean the tools are all there. Like people talk about he's not a leader, all that stuff, but he's just got the physical raw ability. So I would probably go Herbert, Hurts, Love. I'm going to take Eason out.
I don't think it'll happen.
No, there's no way. That's how I would do them, but no, it will not go that way.
I know a lot of people who find Eason in higher regard than Herbert just because and I think a lot of Herbert's sort of people going after him has to do with the coaching he had at Oregon. You have Taggart, then you have Cristobal, and I'm like Cristobal's a defensive guy. They ran a very interesting offense where he's in pistol the whole time, and it just didn't really fit him fully. They didn't let him throw down the ball down the field that much, so people hold that against him, and I don't think that's fully fair.
I just look at size, arm, everything. Like to me, like I'm going to take my chances with that. I'm going to take my chance with that before I take. From him to these other guys in this group, there's a much bigger risk with all these other guys than I think with Herbert.
So you went Herbert, Hurts, Eason.
No.
Oh, Herbert
Hurts, Love.
I
put Love.
Okay,
over
Love
Eason.
over Eason.
I'm not a believer in Eason anymore either.
I have trouble with the number 1 overall quarterback coming out of high school. I really do. It just never really works out the way you think it's supposed to.
You look at some of these numbers, he's terrible in some of these categories.
But he threw the ball a lot last year. Now, back to some MLB. You know I love the over-unders. So I want to talk about the MLB draft. Over-under 7.5 rounds.
Huh. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to go to 10. I think I'll go over. I think they're going to try and get as many, at least as they can. So I just can't imagine going all the way down to 5 rounds in this draft. I mean, that seems like a lot to drop off there. You're dropping 35 rounds off your draft. I'll say over. I'll say they do 10.
So my original number, the one I ended up coming back down to 7.5 after talking to some people. My original number was 12.5. Where would you go on that one?
Well, though they've said it's 5 to 10.
5 to 10?
Yeah,
okay, so it's...
that from what I understand, they have set it at 10 is the maximum, 5 is the minimum. They're going to do 5 to 10.
Really?
That's the way I understand it from what I've seen.
Okay. When I went on their site, they still have everything sort of listed there normal. So I don't think they've made a full decision on that.
Yeah,
but.
from what I understand, the things I've read about it, it is somewhere between 5 and 10, and that may just be reports that are out there and not anything official from Major League Baseball. But I think, from my understanding, it's between 5 and 10. But I may be wrong.
Of course, the site's listing literally. They have the orders of all the teams picking, and it says rounds 3 through 40. Still, they still have that listed. So.
Yeah, because they have not. I don't think officially announced anything. All they've officially announced is saying that the draft could be as few as 5 rounds, but they have set no other official parameters on it. I think it's just the reporters
5 through
who
10.
have said it's going to be between 5 and 10, and maybe that does change. But
I just feel like,
I would say it's going to be. I believe it'll be 10 rounds.
I feel like with that, you're going to have so many undrafted free agents that people are going to be swiping up, and it'll be pretty good ones at that. You don't have to pay them anything.
A lot of kids are going to have to make some weird decisions because, with that extra year now, you got some leverage because you can go back to college. I don't know. It's going to be weird with that whole situation.
Now, last one here. You're going to pick a winner.
All right.
We're doing horse here. We're going through the horse bracket.
Okay. All right. So I'm picking
Group
one in each bracket. Okay.
I'll read these off for you. Group 1, Trae Young versus Chauncey Billups. Who you got?
I got to take Trae Young. I mean, that dude can shoot from long range. I feel like Trae.
I gotta imagine
should be pretty good at horse.
I gotta imagine he'd be the favorite sort of going into this whole thing. Other Group 1 matchup: Tamika Catchings, Mike Conley Jr.
I mean, I got to go with Conley here. Catchings is a little older. I don't know what she. I mean, I just feel like Mike's got to be able to. This is.
Here's the thing. I guess we'll get that. This next one will sort of answer my question that I was about to ask.
Conley, too, is like one of those guys. I feel like he can hit bank shots from everywhere. He's one of those fundamental guys who will hit. He's just going to bank shot you to death in a game of horse.
He'll have a decent amount of range, I feel like, too.
Yeah, I'm going Conley.
Group 2 matchup, Zach LaVine, Paul Pierce.
I'm taking Paul Pierce.
Okay. I was going to ask, are you going to take any retired player?
I like Paul Pierce here. I think with Zach LaVine,
if there's no dunking,
Zach LaVine's strength is the dunking. So they've taken that out of there. So I think Paul Pierce could be a heck of a horse player. I feel like Paul Pierce has some weird shots in him.
We gotta give some credit to LaVine. He's gotten better with his 3-ball, a little better with his shooting, but Paul Pierce used to be really nice.
I like the crafty veteran to come up with some interesting stuff there.
I think this will be a pretty one-sided one. Chris Paul, Allie Quigley.
Yeah, there's no question Chris Paul here.
Okay.
I think Chris Paul actually could be very good at horse as well.
So now we're into the semis here. Obviously only 8 people. This is going to be a quick horse tournament, you would think, but they're going to spread it out over some days. Group 1, semifinal. Trae Young, Mike Conley Jr.
Trae Young. Again, I feel like Trae Young, just with his shooting range, is going to be I'd love to see Trae Young versus Steph Curry is like the matchup I would love to see in horse.
I wonder what the odds will be, what he will be when they assign these.
Yeah,
because I got to imagine he'd be a favorite by
I haven't seen
considerable
I
amount.
have not seen anybody with any betting odds yet. I'm sure they're out there, but I have not seen anybody's odds
They
yet.
have props right now. They have props on like Western Conference or Eastern Conference, man or woman, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Group 2 semifinal: Paul Pierce, Chris Paul.
I'm going Chris Paul. I think he could be one of those little bank shot you to death and do some stuff. I think Chris Paul can get creative, and I like Chris Paul here.
So your championship right now: Group 1 champion Trae Young, Group 2 champion Chris Paul. Who you got to win it all?
I think it plays out well for the sponsor. I'm going to take Chris Paul to win it all for State Farm.
You think his what's it, the new commercials they've launched where it's like the new Chris Paul or the real Chris Paul?
Yeah,
or whatever?
with what's his I always call him Carlton.
Yeah, if it's that guy, he's losing.
No, I'm going Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul is going to win this thing. I like Chris Paul a lot in this.
Over Trae Young?
Yeah.
I
think the crafty veteran.
Ooh. Chris Paul is your winner.
I'm going to take the crafty veteran Chris Paul over the young guy Trae Young.
You think the fix is in with State Farm, too?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying the fix is in, but I'm saying it could work out well for them. Surprised Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes didn't get involved. They could have had them in there.
I guess. Chris Paul, though, I'd have to lean to Trae Young in that one.
Part of this, I do want to see what court they're on. Is anybody outdoor versus indoor? Like that could play a part in this betting.
I think you're underrating Trae Young's craftiness too. He's crafty. I think the bank shots. I think he can do a lot of different things.
I think he's going to be very good. But I think I'm looking for which it'll be an upset. I think Trae Young will be the favorite, but I think the Chris Paul crafty veteran gets it done against Trae Young in the final. Folks, protect your workplace, protect your employees, mitigate the dangerous effects of coronavirus, flu virus, and any other viruses, for a matter of fact. Hilo Commercial Services offers complete deep cleaning and sanitizing services for schools, churches, medical facilities, office buildings, warehouses, residential, any type of buildings. They can come take care of it for you with deep cleaning and sanitizing. They'll customize their cleaning services to meet your specific needs as well. So put that safety first with Hilo Commercial Services. You could call Philip, 901-277-6733, 901-277-6733. That is the phone number for Hilo Commercial Services. And again, whatever you need clean, they can do that for you. And again, they'll customize it for you. Their website is hilocommercial.com. You can get more information about them there if you need that and the services that they do offer. But again, there's time right now when you need some deep cleaning, you need some sanitizing, the folks at Hilo will do it for you. So give them a call at 901-277-6733. More NFL Draft Talk with Jordan Reed from thedraftnetwork.com coming up next on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from
Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more.
Right here, R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m., Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Don't miss it.
I'm Dr. George Flynn, president of Flynn Broadcasting. On behalf of everyone associated with Flynn Broadcasting, we want to wish you good health, especially in this coronavirus situation. You can be the hero. All you have to do is practice social distancing. That's right, 6 feet away from other people, and you'll be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Also, if you feel ill and have a cough or fever, get tested so you'll know if you have coronavirus or not. I'm Dr. George Flynn with Flynn Broadcasting. We'll keep you connected while you maintain your physical social distance. So keep listening to this Flynn Broadcasting station, because we're in this fight with you, and we're going to help you stay connected.
The Home Depot is here to help, and we have many ways to help. You can download our app or go online to find the essential products and information you need quickly. You can order what you need online, and we can have it waiting for you at the store. Or we can even deliver over 1 million items free. And we have thousands of how-to videos for the projects and repairs you need to make. We're here to help. The Home Depot. How doers get more done.
This is a commercial announcement. Newsmax TV is your best source for the latest on the coronavirus story. Even President Trump says he likes Newsmax. Newsmax TV is already the fastest growing cable news channel in America. Now, Newsmax is also doing a poll, asking Americans if they support President Trump's handling of the crisis. So take part in Newsmax's national poll. On your phone, just text the word OPEN to 39747. That's OPEN to 39747. Let Congress and the media know your opinion. And don't forget to tune in to Newsmax TV. Newsmax TV just launched in HD on DirecTV Channel 349, and it's on all the major cable systems, including Dish 216, Xfinity 1115, Spectrum, Cox, Optimum 102, Suddenlink 102, Fios 615, Uverse 1220, WOW, Armstrong, and many others. Check your cable guide. And see great shows tonight, including The Chris Salcedo Show, Sean Spicer's Show, and Greg Kelly Reports. So don't forget to vote in Newsmax's poll on Trump. Just text the word OPEN to 39747.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me Saturdays 8 to 9 a.m. for Sidelines here on Sports 56 WHBQ, 87.7 FM, and 96.1. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, and your favorite team. Give us a call. That's Sidelines, Saturday mornings 8 to 9 a.m. Sidelines is presented by Duncan Williams Asset Management. So get up and give us a call.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
And no Greg in studio this week. Checked in with him earlier in the program. He'll be back in studio next week here on Sports 56 Middays. Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn here with you for Sports 56 Middays, our final half hour here on this Thursday. We're going to continue the NFL draft talk, as joined now by Jordan Reed from the draftnetwork.com, on Twitter at JReedNFL. Jordan, thanks for your time today. How you doing?
Thank you for having me on, Eli. Pleasure to be here.
We were just talking quarterbacks, so I want to kind of piggyback off that discussion. If you're taking Burrow and Tua and maybe even Herbert out of the mix, because we kind of feel like they're going to all be up there at the top, who do you like in the next group of quarterbacks?
I like Jordan Love. I think he would be the guy that really headlines that next tier, in a sense, after those top three guys in Burrow, with Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert. The thing about Love is that every podcast I've been on is that you really have to differentiate the two seasons that he really had as a starter. Yes, I know he's a 3-year starter, but just talking about 2018 and 2019, and that there's so many different variables that he had to deal with. And I'll just start with 2018. 2018, he really had perfect surroundings, and head coach Matt Wells was there. He had 32 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He's very decisive. You saw those off-platform throws and being able to perform off schedule, which is something I think is really a strong part of his skill set. And then in 2019, head coach Matt Wells goes to Texas Tech. He loses his offensive coordinator, and he loses his top 3 receiving targets as well. And then it really was a detriment to his game. And he started to play what I like to call hero ball, and that he was just trying to do too much. And that's where the 20 touchdowns and 17 interception factor comes into play.
What about a couple other guys we were talking about? Jalen Hurts and Jacob Eason.
So Hurts is a really interesting case just because, he has fantastic leadership. The poise is something that stands out about him. I think he has a relatively strong arm for the most part. It's just the accuracy that worries you the most about him. I think that's an area where he really has struggled upon. But he's what I like to call a chameleon. And he's a chameleon just because he's able to evolve no matter the surroundings and the environment that he's in. Just because he was in a run-first offense for the most part in Alabama, but he transferred to Oklahoma, which is where he wanted to show off his passing prowess a little bit more. And he was able to do that. He set up record numbers there, and I thought he did a really good job of showing how much he has developed as a passer. And he's welcomed the pre-draft process as a whole as well. And that's something that I love that Jalen has done. He threw at the combine, and I thought he threw the ball really well at the Senior Bowl outside of the first practice. The second and third day, I thought he showed a lot of growth.
Switching over to running backs. The running back position in the NFL is, I guess, kind of viewed completely differently now, it seems like, as to the importance and when you draft them and how long you're going to want to keep them. A guy like Jonathan Taylor, who had the great college career, how do you look at him in the fact that he put up a bunch of yards, but that also means he had a lot of carries. He took a lot of a beating during his college career. How do you see him in the NFL?
He's a really interesting case just because I think he's a little bit different than some of the other guys in this class. And DeAndre Swift, I think he's more of your 1B rusher as opposed to a 1A bell cow type of guy. I think Dobbins can be that 1A guy, but you do have some concerns there. But Jonathan Taylor, I think he's the one guy that you're supremely confident about that can be that 1A bell cow type of guy. But the fumbles is something that does worry about him. He had 18 throughout his career, his 3-year career, I should say, when he was at Wisconsin. The passing game involvement is something that you worry about a little bit, even though he wasn't really involved in the passing game a whole bunch. He has shown to be a consistent pass catcher. It's just a matter of how involved can he be as far as certain routes that he can run. So that's some of the concerns that you have about him. But as far as the running game, I think he has it. He has everything that you're looking for. He can run between the tackles. He can make guys miss on the perimeter. And then he can take it the distance. And he ran a 4.39 at the combine, and I think his play speed really does show that in his film. So I love that about him.
Another guy that, of course, people got to see a lot, and probably coming into the year, nobody knew anything about him, but because of what LSU did, we learned a lot about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He certainly is a great pass catcher out of the backfield. How does he project to the next level?
I love him, and I think he's going to help a team from the passing game standpoint from day one, just because he was really Joe Burrow's security blanket outside of the fantastic receivers that he had, but they were able to isolate him out of the backfield on some of these second-level defenders, and he was able to make them look silly. And I think that's going to carry over into his career in the NFL. And I think something he really has in his corner that's working in his favor is that he doesn't have as much wear and tear on some of these other guys do entering the NFL. He's going to be a 20-year-old entering the league as well, which is, I think, another factor that he has, especially considering that some of these running backs are really struggling to see that second contract after their rookie season.
Talking with Jordan Reed from the Draft Network. I'm looking at your running back rankings. You have Antonio Gibson from the University of Memphis in your running back rankings at number 7. Do you see him as a running back in the NFL, a wide receiver a little bit as well, combo guy? How do you see teams using Antonio Gibson?
He's kind of a player that I like to classify as an all-of-the-above player. That's what I like to call him. That's what I wrote in the scouting report, is that you really don't really want to pick him at one certain position just because I think you're not going to really see the totality of what he can do. And I think Memphis did a really good job of using him at receiver. They used him at running back. And then every time he touched the ball, it seemed like something positive happened, or he was getting at least a first down every time he touched the ball. So I think he has to get with the creative offensive coordinator. I think that's something that really can make or break his career. But his value, I think he's an all of the above type of player.
This group of receivers, it's a great group, especially the guys up top there. If you're drafting in that first round and you need receiver, do you believe there's enough separation from the CD Lambs and Jerry Jeudy's to take one there? Or are you of the mind that maybe you can still get a pretty darn good receiver later and you could fill another need in that first round?
This is something that I'm really interested in seeing, just because we saw last year where Marquise Hollywood Brown didn't go into the 25th overall pick, and he was the only receiver selected in the first round. But you saw a lot of teams wait until the second round, and they got a lot of value from that, whether it was A.J. Brown in Tennessee, DK Metcalf in Seattle, and even a Terry McLaurin in Washington. So you're seeing these second, third, and even fourth round guys having so much value as opposed to these guys that go in the first round. And I really want to see if teams wait, even though it is a very loaded class, and I think we're going to see as many as 5 go in the first round. I think that's a fair number to say. But there's going to be some teams that want to feel a more urgent need immediately and then wait and get a guy in the second round like a Brandon Ayuk or even a T. Higgins or some guys of that nature.
Do you like Jeudy the best of the group?
I do. And the only reason I have Jeudy over CD Lamb is just because I trust the route running a little bit more. I think CD is better as far as an overall catcher and being able to play in crowds and beating man coverage.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeudy, he's just such a supreme route runner, and separation is king in the NFL. If you can't garner separation, you're not going to be very good in the league. And I think that's something Jerry Jeudy does a fantastic job of.
CD Lamb amazed me when he has the ball in his hands. Like he made more guys miss. It just felt like you would see him like he was surrounded and somehow would get out of it.
Yeah, he had a catch against Texas, and I believe it was in the third quarter, where he had like 4 guys around him, and he still was able to take it the distance for a 60-yard touchdown. And that's something that he's really improved upon the most in his game, just because CD didn't have that type of package coming into this last season, but he improved his play strength. He looked to seem much faster, and he looked more confident taking over in that wide receiver 1 role once Hollywood Brown left for the league.
You've got Chase Young number 1 on your board. How good do you believe Chase Young is or will be in the NFL?
So I love using analogies when I'm talking about prospects just to help people better understand exactly what these guys are. He's what I like to call a clear package prospect. So whenever you get a clear package on your doorstep, you can see through the wrapper, you know exactly what you're getting from day one. I think that's exactly what Chase Young can be. And I've compared him to Julius Peppers just to put you in the mind frame of what he could be. That's not to say he's going to turn into Julius Peppers or have an even better career than Peppers, but as far as the impact that he can have immediately and over the longevity of his career, I think Chase Young can be that.
How would you compare him to the 2 Bosas, who, of course, have just come out of Ohio State here recently?
I think he's more explosive. Now, he's not as well diverse or creative as a pass rusher, and he's not as good with his hands. But as far as the upside, I think he could be just as good, if not better, than those 2.
What is Isaiah Simmons' position in the NFL?
All of the above. He's like I talked about with Antonio Gibson. You don't want to peg him at one position just because you're not really going to see his value at that point. He's played everything outside of nose tackle and interior defensive line. And I think something that's going to be paramount for his career is that he has to be paired with a creative defensive coordinator. And I say that because I'll give you a throwback name, Taylor Mays, and even Obi Melifonwu, and even Mark Barron. We've seen players like Isaiah Simmons, but whenever you don't have a clear, distinct plan for them, that's when they flame out and they start to bounce around the league. So the team that does draft Isaiah Simmons, they have to have a clear, distinct plan for him.
Do you have a kind of a favorite, a quote-unquote sleeper, a guy that most people don't have going first or maybe second round that you think is going to be well underdrafted?
His name is Terrell Burgess. He's a safety from Utah, and he's another player that's played safety. He's played cornerback. He's played all of those positions on the back end, and we've seen guys like Tyrann Mathieu in years past and all these other cornerback/safety hybrids come into the league, and that you have so much value when you can play every single position on the back end. And I actually was talking to one of his teammates yesterday, Lakey Folks, who was a defensive tackle for Utah, and Utah has so many prospects from Jalen Johnson to Bradley and the list goes on. And I asked him, who do you think is the best player on that talented defense that you guys had? And he immediately named Terrell Burgess just because of his smarts and his versatility.
Talking with Jordan Reed from the draftnetwork.com. Going back quickly to the quarterbacks, how much concern do you have with Tua on the injury front?
Well, it's a massive concern just because guys don't normally just become magically healthy over the long haul when they have faced injuries during their college career. And Tua has had surgery on both ankles, and we know about the hip situation. And then there's some others that he has endured in years past as well. So that's the biggest stand on his resume. And it's something that is really hard to overlook just because when you're investing a top 5 or top 10 pick on a quarterback, you want to make sure you have as much evidence as possible to get this pick right. And it's going to be a risk with whoever drafts Tua, but it's a high risk, high reward, something that could pay off.
If you took the injuries out of it, if you just look at them as prospects, do you like Burrow still better than him, or would you say Tua is the better prospect minus injuries?
Tua would be the better prospect for me if I was guaranteed a 10-plus year clean bill of health for him. I would, without question, take Tua.
Really? What is
Yes,
it? What is it that you think makes him better?
I just love the accuracy that is associated with him. I love the decision making. And I just love the charisma that he has. I think he's a natural-born leader. And that's something that you notice just interacting with all the Alabama guys at the Combine and being able to talk to him. The first thing that they say about him is just his leadership. However you see him on TV is exactly how he is in person. So I just love the leadership standpoint. I love the accuracy. I love the poise and the decision-making.
What kind of effect do you see this whole situation having on the draft? We didn't get pro days at a lot of places for some of these kids who may be drafted later. Obviously, the visits aren't there for people. The draft is going to be done differently, but that shouldn't really matter as far as the actual draft is concerned. But the fact that they weren't able to do some visits and things they normally would have done, how much of an impact does that have on this draft?
So I think it's going to have a big impact on 3 categories of individuals, and that's small school, red flag players, and then guys that have medical conditions or injury or past previous injury history. And I say that because teams like to get these guys in their facilities, and that's really where they like to examine them if they have medical history, or if they have red flags, they really like to interview them and just figure out exactly what happened. And then the small school guys, of course, you want to put them through your own design drills. Just because some of those guys weren't at the Combine, and the only tape that you have to go on them is exactly what they played this year. But seeing them in person is just a little bit different. So small school guys, medical red flags, those I think are the 3 categories that I think is going to be affected the most.
He is Jordan Reed on Twitter at JReedNFL, the draftnetwork.com. Tell people what they can all find on the website.
You can find me on Twitter at JReedNFL. It's JREIDNFL. You can also find my work on the draftnetwork.com. We have articles being published every single day of the week. And then we also have our mock draft machine, which you can run an actual simulator of the draft. You can pick one team or you can pick all 32 teams if you want to create your own draft. And then we have a premium subscription where you can make trades throughout it as well.
I am a Cowboys fan. There's a lot of Cowboys fans here in Memphis. What way do you see them going in round 1?
Ooh, you put me on the spot here. So I think cornerback. I think that's definitely an area that they could address. I like C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida, I should say. I think that would be a home run pick for them. But I think a sneaky pick that could happen now that Travis Frederick has decided to retire. Yeah. I like Cesar Ruiz, the center from Michigan. He's a name that's really starting to rise a lot of boards.
See, I've thought about it, and I've asked some other people about whether they thought, with Travis Frederick, where do they fill that need early in this draft, whether it be first, second round, and who those guys might be? Because we know Jerry loves to take his offensive linemen early, and that's how they built that great offensive line to begin with. Right. And Travis Frederick, when they drafted him, everybody thought they had overdrafted him by taking him in the first round.
Right. And I think Ruiz would be a home run pick for them if they take him at 17. It's just a matter of how high do they value that position. And we've seen in years past, drafting Travis Frederick, they see the center position as very key to their success.
What about the Titans?
So this is one team that's really hard to get a feel for just because do you take an edge rusher or do you take an offensive tackle now that Jack Conklin is gone? And I think it's a situation where, of course, the top four is going to be out of range for them, talking about Andrew Thomas, Mekhi Becton, Jedrick Wills, and then Tristan Wirfs. They're obviously going to be out of range for any of those four guys. So do you take somebody in that second tier, whether that's a Lucas Anger, Austin Jackson, or anybody of that nature? So I think offensive tackle would be a good pick for them. It's just a matter of how comfortable are they taking one in that second tier.
One final one to put you on the spot. Do the Patriots draft a quarterback anywhere in this draft?
Will they? I think they will. I don't know where they're going to do it. That's the thing. It's really hard to predict where they're going to do it, especially having so much success with Tom Brady. And then they took one last year that they like in the mid-rounds in Jarrett Stidham. So do I think they will take one? I do. I just don't know where.
Jordan Reed, Draft Network, thedraftnetwork.com is the website, at JReedNFL on Twitter. Jordan, thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it. Good stuff.
Thank you for having me on, Eli. It was a pleasure.
Jordan Reed joining us again from thedraftnetwork.com. Gabe, do you believe the Patriots draft a quarterback?
At some point. You sort of wonder, though, like with who the guys are and where they're going to be picking. I believe it's 23 this year. I think it's somewhere around
somewhere
there.
in that range.
Like,
are
they interested enough in Jordan Love or
one
one
of
of those big prospects?
If they draft one, I think it's after round 2. I think it's 3 or later that they draft one. I don't think they're taking any of these guys up high.
That wouldn't be a surprise, though, because they've been doing that for years.
Yeah, it's like you said, like they got Tom Brady in round 6. They got Stidham, who they do seem to like, in round 4 or whatever. Like they're on, like that's Belichick's MO is not to draft. They did draft Garoppolo was what, round 2? I think it was.
Yeah, that's the highest.
That's
one.
the highest one they drafted. So
and I'll tell you one thing about that is Bill loved Jimmy G.
Yeah.
So they he has to absolutely be in love with a prospect to take a quarterback prospect to take him top 2 rounds.
We'll come back, wrap things up for today's program right after this. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallow and Stats. Weekday afternoons from 3 till 6. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models, each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today, shop our aggressive lease and finance options now. Luxury is waiting at Acura of Memphis, or shop online 24/7. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
The Home Depot is here to help, and we have many ways to help. You can download our app or go online to find the essential products and information you need quickly. You can order what you need online, and we can have it waiting for you at the store. Or we can even deliver over 1 million items free. And we have thousands of how-to videos for the projects and repairs you need to make. We're here to help. The Home Depot. How doers get more done.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
So coming up next, it's The Herd with Colin Cowherd, then Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats and Southern Sports Report. The tomorrow's program, we'll have, of course, Greg on with us. Ross Dellinger, who we talked about the article he wrote yesterday, wrote a really good in-depth article talking about what this whole situation could mean financially if there wasn't a college football season and how much the impact of that could be felt. And he wrote that for Sports Illustrated. We're going to talk with him tomorrow. And Dave Mason, who is the brand manager for Bet Online, talk with him about how creative like these offshore books and things have had to get and trying to have something for people to bet on. And obviously they have the ability to do that. But he's going to join us tomorrow as well at 12:25. And we'll talk to him about what we're talking with Brandon too. How long do you think it's going to take to fully recover from this with the missing out on the NCAA tournament? And then again, as what Brandon talked about, people just not having the disposable income coming out of this to bet as much as they used to do. So we'll talk with Dave Mason tomorrow on the program as well. Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
So this amazed me yesterday. Darren Rovell from the Action Network tweeted about this, and I'm blown away. But somebody in the Wimbledon office is a pure genius. And they've probably had to defend themselves each and every year for a long time. And now they finally get to say, see, I told you so. According to Rovell, Wimbledon has been paying for pandemic insurance $2 million a year for the last 17 years. And as a result, this year, with the tournament being canceled, they cash in that policy, they will get $141 million.
I bet they're pretty happy that said person who convinced them to do it.
Like, I feel like every year they write that check, they're like, what are we doing? Like, come on. Seriously? Like, pandemic insurance? Do we really ever think we're going to need this and use this? And I'm sure the insurance company's like, yeah, we'll pay you $140 million if you ever have to cancel the tournament because of a pandemic. Sure. Let's call it $2 million a year. Oh, you guys are actually willing to pay that. Awesome. We're just raking in $2 million a year forever. They haven't canceled the tournament since World War II. Like, it's never been canceled for a pandemic. What are the chances we ever have to pay them $141 million? Well, lo and behold, if you wonder why they just canceled and others postponed, right there's your answer. Now, granted, $141 million is not what they would make holding the tournament, but still, not a bad consolation for having to cancel it.
From what I understand, like, obviously it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
But it's not crazy far off. I think every year, like, their revenue is around $300 million from what I have gathered. So, you're getting about half, right?
And
of
if
your
you
revenue, and you don't have expenses because you're not running the tournament.
Well, the thing is, if you postponed it, like, you don't know for sure at a different time how it's all going to work. So just taking this, you're like, yeah. But I just can't imagine, like, that first year that somebody was like, you know what? We should get pandemic insurance. What are you talking about, dude? Like, no. And somehow he won the battle. And every year they're probably cutting that check thinking, why don't we cancel this? We aren't going to ever use this. And here we are, $141 million later. They end up with it ends up being $107 million, obviously, because they've paid $34 million of this. And they collect $141 million. Not a bad investment. I would have never thought of having pandemic insurance if I was Wimbledon.
I wonder if there's any other leagues in the entire world that have this. Tournaments or whatever.
Because like the
it is.
NCAA tournament had like an insurance policy, but it's not just pandemic. I wonder like if anybody else has specific pandemic-related insurance policies that they could cash in. That's going to do it for today's program. Thanks to Mike Bianco, Greg Gaston, Brandon Lang, Jordan Reed for joining us. Back tomorrow with the Friday edition of the show. We will have 10 in a row, chance for you to win tomorrow. So hope you'll join us for that. Again, stay tuned. It is The Herd with Colin Cowherd from Fox Sports Radio coming your way next, and then Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. For Gabe, I'm Eli. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
In Lynchburg, Tennessee, just couldn't hit the spot. Got $100 bill, you can keep your pills, friend, it's all